And there it is right there. So there it is right there, and here it is right here. And here I am right here. I was going to say there you are right there, but I'm not sure how many of you are actually watching. Not a crowd at the moment, so hopefully it picks up. But here it is right here, and there you are right there. So here we go. So there's a Yoruba adage that says, "Àjẹ́ ké lánàá, ọmọ kú lénìí. Ta ni ò mọ̀ pé àjẹ́ àná ló pa ọmọ?" So that's a Yoruba adage. Àjẹ́ ké ní àná, ọmọ kú ní èní. Ta ni ò mọ̀ pé àjẹ́ àná ló pa ọmọ? So what does that mean? That means that the witch cried yesterday. You know, we're a sort of a ritualistic sort of a society. So that essentially means the witch cried yesterday, the child died today. Who is not aware that it was that witch that cried yesterday that is responsible for that child's death? So where am I going to with that long-winded sort of analogy? So as early as yesterday, we put a missing person notice out on the social media space to try and hunt Peter Obi down for his silence over the Supreme Court judgment. So we put that missing person notice out, and barely 24 hours later, the lumping element from Oka has finally surfaced onto the public space to address what the Supreme Court had to say. So we'll be looking at that. We'll be looking at what he has to say. We'll be reacting and responding to it. I have no great expectations, rather than just some yellow Gary sparking of the cutlass on the floor. I have not seen it, by the way. I'm sure some of you must have, but I want to see it raw and organic with you guys, and then we'll respond to it together. So the link to the studio is in the comment section. Anybody that wants to hop on. But the lumping element from Oka, he wants to have a word.
Good afternoon, fellow country, men and women, gentlemen of the media. Welcome to this press conference. Can you permit me to make some few remarks on the recent ruling of the Supreme Court?
It's quite curious to see that his Mauritanian boyfriend is beside him, by the way. I thought his Mauritanian boyfriend, I thought he had he has caught and run and returned back to his home. But there he is with his Mauritanian sidekick. So what does he have to say? And by the way, I'll try and switch on the subtitle because, of course, always a strain to understand anything that Peter Obi has to say. But you have to listen to Peter Obi in slow motion. Otherwise, you might not understand anything he has to say.
The highest court in Nigeria. About a fortnight ago, I was traveling abroad on a prior scheduled engagement when I received a notice of Supreme Court. They were delivering judgment on the 26th of October 2003 on a challenge of the ruling.
And by the way, like I said, I'm listening to this in real time with all of you. I promise you that I have not listened to this prior, but it'd be interesting to see how much of his commentaries actually mirror what Atiku Abubakar had to say, because that is what we have noticed as a pattern. Often instances, our man from Anambra State, he waits from the man for the man from Adamawa to make a speech, and then he piggybacks off the back of whatever it is that Atiku had to say to then make his own public pronouncement. So look out for similarities in what the Oka-born ex-governor of Anambra State has to say see how much it mirrors Atiku Abubakar. What do you want?
Of the
What do you want?
Presidential Election Petition Court.
To what?
That judgment
Go and sit down and drink your drink and
delivered.
go and sit down next to Annie and give me the remote,
The
please.
leadership of Labour Party has already pronounced its position on the judgment. As someone who has previously benefited from the ruling of the Supreme Court on electoral matters, have
So it's quite curious that he's acknowledging that is somebody that has already previously benefited from the rulings of the Supreme Court. So he's not doing that voluntarily, by the way. He's doing that off the soundings of public opinions that is already pointing in that direction. So having now benefited from the Supreme Court, because of course, people call Hope Uzodinma the Supreme Court governor, but the original Supreme Court governor is Peter Obi. So having now benefited from that space, he cannot now claim that space is not fit for purpose.
after a period of deep and sober reflection, decided to personally and formally react to the recent judgments as most Nigerians have. Because we are confronted with very weighty issues of national interest, I will speak forthrightly. As a young student at CKC Onitsha, we were taught values and admonished to always choose harder rights instead of easier wrong. Certain legal issues aside, the Supreme Court exhibited a disturbing aversion to public opinion, just as they abandoned its responsibility as court of law and policy. It is therefore with great dismay that I observe that the court's decision contradicts the overwhelming evidence of election rigging, false claim of technical glitch, substantial non-compliance to the rules set by INEC itself, as well as matters of perjury.
So yes, so there it is. So already from the opening salvo, we already know the direction of travel that P2B is embarked upon. So he's going to double down on his ignorance and try to rubbish the Nigerian judiciary.
Identity theft and forgery has been brought to light in course of this election matter. These are hefty allegations that should not have been treated with levity. More apparent, the Supreme Court's judgment willfully condoned breaches of the Constitution relative to established qualifications and parameters for candidates in presidential elections.
So this is the Spectre, that's SPECTRE for some of you Easterners. So that's Spectre. So this is the Spectre that we're having to contend with. We have a barely literate man trying to re-legislate judgments made by supremely educated Supreme Court justices. So Peter Obi, with his philosophy from UNN, is trying to now interpret the law to educate Supreme Court justices, and that is the parallel universe that Peter Obi has taken us into.
With this counter judgment, the Supreme Court has transferred a heavy moral burden from the courtroom to our national conscience. Our young democracy is ultimately the main victim and casualty of the courtroom drama. Without repercussion, this judgment amounts to a breach of confidence Nigerians have in our judiciary. To that extent, it is a show of unreasonable force against the very Nigerian people from whom the power of the Constitution drives. The Supreme Court's ruling may represent the state of the law in 2023, but not present demand for substantive justice.
Okay, so the Supreme Court represents the state of the law, and what the Supreme Court has told us is that the Peter Obi case is spurious. I think it was 20 seconds, wasn't it? And a lot of people made a lot of hue and cry about that. It took barely 20 seconds for the Supreme Court to kick Peter Obi out of the space. So that is to tell you then, because for all of the noise and all of the hoopla and all of the agitations that we have had from that space, you would have expected the Supreme Court to have a lengthier period of reflection in order to come to a conclusion. So for the Supreme Court to kick Peter Obi out of court within 20 seconds, that is to tell you that it is the height. By their consideration, what Peter Obi presented was the height of stupidity. But here is the clueless man in this rather sort of difficult to place a voice texture, telling us now how the Supreme Court has erred in their judgment. So this is where we are now. But like I said, we have been invited now by our man from the Southeast into a parallel universe.
The judgment meets principles and precedents. Indeed, the rationale and premise of the Supreme Court judgment have been clearly brought to.
You see, what I don't understand is exactly what Peter Obi is claiming to be fighting for. So what exactly is Peter Obi claiming he's fighting for is the question. Because he has petered off any narrative of him winning that election, because even he, as far-flung as he is, cannot even to that reach to come to the public space to tell us that he won the election. There are no parameters to suggest that a character like Peter Obi can win a presidential election like in a place like Nigeria. Peter Obi is an Igbo man from the southeast. The Nigerian space has a visceral distrust of that space, especially more so the northern space within the Nigerian space. They have a visceral distrust of that space of the southeast. So there is absolutely categorically no suggestion. Even Peter Obi cannot reach to any suggestion that the Northerners want him as their president. And the bulk of the votes in Nigeria is in the North. Now, the Southwest does not really object to Peter Obi being president. They are not forced either way. They may want it, they may not want it, but it's not a real bother to the Southwest. But unfortunately for Peter Obi, a Southwesterner was also contending in that election, and he was the front runner as well. And as they say, blood is thicker than water. I won Lagos, park that to one side. The vote differentials were about 10,000 votes, and really the abundance of the ethnic mix of Lagos was reflected in that. And the activation of the Igbos, especially within that space, the largest second minority, the largest second ethnic group within the Lagos space are Igbo people. The whole of Igbo land always trooped to Lagos. That's been the convention since the creation of that country. So there's an abundance of Igbo people in Lagos. And of course, because they've ignited that ethnic jingoism in the course, because of course, the whole of the Peter Obi campaigning was all wrapped around ethnicity and religion. So he had ignited that primal ethnic thing within that Igbo space, and the abundance of the Igbos to the man, they all went out to vote for Peter Obi in Lagos. So now the restive native community, they were not especially bothered because they are just really more into their Owambes and whatnot. And that was the narrative of Lagos. But really, the Southwest sticks with its own. You will say that Atiku did well wherever, but essentially, if you look at the vote count, the Southwest stuck with its own. The North, because of a visceral distrust of anything Southeasterner, which goes back to the first coup narrative, they would never vote for an Igbo person, and we all know this. Every single person hearing me knows this. So, if given that being the case, and that is the case, so given that being the case, there are no parameters, there are no permutations to suggest that a character, especially somebody that is deeply ethnic in his being, like Peter Obi, there are no parameters to suggest that a character like Peter Obi could win a presidential. There are Southeasterners that can win presidential elections in Nigeria. The Southeasterners that have abandoned ethnicity to carry into a crossover appeal and be more nationalistic in their outlook, they can win elections in Nigeria, but not a deeply rooted, very ethnic jingoist like Peter Obi. He can never ever win an election in Nigeria. I know this, you know this, but more importantly, he knows this. So, what is all this fight that is claiming that is fighting? Is all ethnic dog whistles that we're hearing from our man from Oka.
Light by deep, prevailing, and troubling valedictory remarks of Honorable Justice Musa Betijo Mohammed, JSC, on Friday, 27th, 2023.
The link to the studio is there, by the way. If anybody wants to have a conversation around this, hop on. But you can hear the accent of Aisha Yesufu yet again in this public output by Pete Obi.
In disagreeing very strongly with the ruling of both the Presidential Petition Court and the Supreme Court on the outcome on the 25th February presidential election, as declared by the Independent Electoral Commission, as Democrats who believe in the rule of law, we recognize that the Supreme Court is the end stage of our quest for legal closure on this matter. As a party and candidate, Daddy and I have now exhausted all legal and constitutional remedies available to us. However, this end is only another beginning of our quest for vindication of hope of the common man for a better Nigeria. After all, sovereignty belongs to the people, even for historical purposes. It belongs us to place our disagreement with and deep reservation about this judgment on public record. We have long been aware of how weak the national institutions have negatively affected our democracy. This year, 2023, has been quite remarkable and revealing. INEC displayed incompetence in the conduct of its statutory duties. The judiciary has largely acted in defiance of the constitutional tenets, precedents, and established ground rules. Political expediency has preceded judicial responsibility. A mechanical application of technicalities has preceded pursuit of justice and fairness. Both INEC and Supreme Court, as referees, respectively, shifted the goalposts in the middle of the game. where the value and import of INEC and recent Supreme Court ruling ends is where our commitment to a new Nigeria begins. Our mission has been more about anchoring a new Nigeria, and it remains unchanged.
Okay. So now that is really the space that I was really listening to hear. So that is Peter Obi now somewhat attempting at a policy direction for his followers or his adherents, or more really his fanatics. That's Peter Obi now. I'm going to scroll it back just like about a minute or so you can hear exactly what he said. So what he's actually saying is that he's conceding that the 2023 cycle has ended, and he has no choice other than that concession, by the way, because if he invites anarchy upon the state, then he'll be picked up, tried for treason, and taken to Bar Beach, and we know what happens in Bar Beach. So he had no option but to make that concession waving of the white flag. But after conceding and waving that white flag with the preamble leading up to that, he's now trying to point a direction of travel for his fanatics. So I'll scroll it back just a minute so you can get the flow of that.
Commitment to a new Nigeria begins. A mechanical application of technicalities has superseded pursuit of justice and fairness. Both INEC and Supreme Court, as referees, respectively, shifted the goalposts in the middle of the game. Where the value and import of INEC and recent Supreme Court ruling ends is where our commitment to a new Nigeria begins.
So that was the concession right there.
Our mission.
So let me just pause it right there. That statement right there was the waving of the white flag. That was the I surrender, but I'll be back to fight again. So where the INEC, whatever it is, and the Supreme Court ends, is where my movement begins. So he, with that statement, acknowledges that this cycle has now come to its crescendo, because as they often say within the Nigerian space, after a judgment from the Supreme Court, the only other appeal is to God. So that Nigerian space, in terms of all options, has been explored and has been crescendoed. But he's now in the course of now, hopefully this next phase, are going to try to point a direction of travel to the fanatics that follow him.
Our commitment to a new Nigeria begins. Where the value and import of INEC and recent Supreme Court ruling ends is where our commitment to a new Nigeria begins. Our mission has been more about anchoring a new Nigeria, and it remains unchanged. It is a nation where things will work, where the country will be led from its present waste and consumption orientation to a production-driven economy. Our commitment is to a nation anchored on.
Is this peppy little buzzwords that this guy uses, isn't it? It is a peppy to a production and a consumption to production. So he's been saying this consumption to production for yonks, but he has not yet fleshed out. For somebody that's spoken about something for a good solid 2 years, it is quite a wonder that this guy has not fleshed out the modalities of this theorizing that is presenting. And by the way, this consumption to production, little peppy, little sound that is always vegetating, it's not anything new or innovative. It's embedded in the article manifesto, but in a more fleshed out and a more detailed manner. Is also embedded in the Tinubu manifesto in an even greater detailed manner. But as much as Peter Obi regurgitates, it is a consumption, all this nonsense that he says, he has never once fleshed out the modalities of the workings of this theorizing that he likes to regurgitate. So it's all sound bites, all bluster, no bang. It's just righteous indignation, sound and fury signify nothing, nothing of some substance or that underpinning it. If you ask him for a detailed walkthrough of this peppy little cliche, this peppy little expression that he continues to regurgitate all over everywhere. He cannot, because of course he doesn't have the articulation to, even if he has an understanding, even if his space, he wouldn't have an understanding, but even if his space has an understanding, but Peter Obi could never, because we've heard him speak publicly often enough, he could never have the articulation to condense it into anything that coheres. But to throw out peppy little sound bites, consumption to production, easily done. And then the usual hoorah or hooray Henrys that follow him, they will start to wild all over the social media space. But let's go back to our man from Oka.
On principles of prudent management of resources to quickly pull millions out of multidimensional poverty, ensuring transparency and accountability in equitable distribution of opportunities, resources.
And by the way, mark my words on this, and if it proves not to be the case, please approach me anywhere on the streets and throw rotten tomatoes at me. So mark my words on this. This is the last time you will ever see Yusuf Ali Dati Baba standing beside Peter Obi. This is so take a good look now, because this is the last time in human existence that you ever see Yusuf Dati Baba Ali standing cheek by jowl with your man from Oka.
Privileges. In the new Nigeria, we aim to address our met needs by showing compassion for all those left behind by the present system. Going forward, we in Labour Party and the Obedient Movement are now effectively in opposition. We are glad.
And that is the surrender right there. So that is the surrender right there. Going forward, and I hope you are listening, all you the empty-head brigades that are that screech and squeal all over social media. Your Lord and Master now. That's him waving the white flag. I beg your pardon. That was your Lord and Master waving the white flag. So have no equivocation and have no confusion in your thoughts. Going forward, we, the Labour Party and the Obedient Movement, are now in opposition. That is to tell you that this cycle has finished. His Badue attempt has failed and is now essentially an opposition person. So whatever it is, it was ineffectual as a candidate, is ineffectual as a substance. So you can't really expect any effect as an opposition. So what will constitute an opposition is really more of the same of the level of abuse and just wilding up the space that we've had from the obedient narrative all the way through this cycle, because there are no indications that the penny has dropped within that space in any manner, and certainly no indication that any penny dropped for this particular character in this now whatever it is that is pronouncing to the public space. So what you would expect, and by the way, the space has already now gotten an understanding of their play. So it's not catching anybody off guard in 2027. So Peter Obi has had his one shot, and that shot has failed spectacularly. He claims he's an opposition figure now, but you will hear little missives, maybe once or twice in the immediate future, and then this guy will disappear into the ethers. So this is the last hurrah. This is the last stand at the OK Corral about your man from Oka. So watch very closely. But this is the last stand of our whatever it is, our man.
We are glad that the nation has heard us loud and clear. We shall not expand the confines of our message of hope to the rest of the country. We will meet the people in their places where they feel pain and answer the needs for hope. At marketplaces, auto parks, town halls, boardrooms, university and college campuses. We will carry and deliver the message of a
The fact is, Peter Obi doesn't have within him the heavy lifting that is required for the build-up to 2027. Because, of course, Tinubu, he lifted heavily for 30 years to become the president of Nigeria. And this is what Peter Obi thought he could conclude within 6 months. So it's just that immediacy of it. And every single person listening to the sound of my voice now, we all know that within the next couple of months, that space will move to its natural habitat, which is the Biafra narrative, especially when Tinubu throws Nnamdi Kanu in their mix. So really, this is the last hurrah from Peter Obi. Last hurrah.
new Nigeria. As stakeholders and elected Labour Party officials, we will remain loyal to our manifesto. We will continue to canvass good governance and focus on issues that promote national interest and unity and cohesion. We will continue to give primacy to our constitution, rule of law, and the protection of other liberties. We will offer checks and balances and will be proposing in forthcoming elections to elect those who share our vision of a new Nigeria. Given the present national circumstances,
and have no equivocation, by the way, when Peter Obi said a new Nigeria, is actually talking about a southeastern Nigeria, because a new Nigeria is being crafted right before our very eyes by the Tinubu administration. Every administration that comes to govern the Nigerian space looks to create and proceeds to create a new Nigeria. So a new Nigeria is being created, whether it's the Nigeria that you want. A new Nigeria has already been created anyway, with the fuel subsidy removed, the arbitrage in the exchange system, the recalibration of the financial structures, the realignment of the structures of governance. So a new Nigeria is already being created. Whether it is to your template or not, that's a different narrative, and that is that is subject to your pecuniary malaise. That is subject to your prejudices. But a new Nigeria is already being created. So this new Nigeria, peppy little expression that Peter Obi is just sound bites, isn't it? This is a sound bite politician, isn't it? A new Nigeria, consumption to production, all bluster, no bang, no substance underpinning it, no ideological thrust, no cranial functioning, no nuance within it. It's just peppy little sound bites. So a new Nigeria is always created by every new administration, whether it's a negative or a positive. Certainly, a repointing of the country happens under every new administration. So, if he wants to create a new Nigeria, what format and what walkthrough with that process undergo? That's the thing. But then, of course, what expectation do you have from somebody that cannot even comprehend in an interview?
There's compelling need for a strong political opposition. We shall therefore remain in opposition, especially because of the policies and governance modalities that we in Labour Party campaign for, especially the issue of reducing cost of governance, moving the country from waste and consumption to production, reducing inflation, ending insecurity, promoting the rule of law, guaranteeing the responsibility to protect and stabilize our national currency, are clearly not the priorities of the present administration, nor is it interested in achieving sustainable development goals. It has one thing that gladdened my heart in course of the struggle in the past 18 months. It is the passionate desire of our people, especially young Nigerians from across ethnic and minds, to construct a new and restructured Nigeria that will work for all Nigerians. The goal remains the light and abiding inspiration. Finally, I thank all Nigerians who believed in what is now only a revolution postponed. We deeply appreciate the unalloyed, non-partisan moral support millions of youths and ordinary Nigerians across ethnic, religious, geopolitical divides have continued to give Dati and I. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to Nigerians who have supported this mission from the onset. We salute the leadership and members of the Labour Party, the Obedient Movement, the Obedient Presidential Campaign, Nigerians in diaspora, support groups, and all people of goodwill who work diligently and hoped for realization.
And by the way, I'll be shutting it down in about 10 minutes or so. So if you want to come and have a reaction to it, come have a reaction. Otherwise, of course, we'll be revisiting it in the latter session. But this is P2B, last stand at the OK Corral. So last stand at the OK Corral for a man from Oka.
Of the beginning of new Nigeria in this election cycle. Nigerians who supported our cause have done so out of patriotism and their sincere conviction that our nation requires and deserves dedicated and visionary leadership who will lead Nigeria toward a brighter future. The energy and dedication of Nigerian youth and obedient movement have been simply amazing. I appreciate and salute them. I want to assure them that this is not the end of our journey, but in fact, the beginning. Nigerians heard you. The world have taken note and will not forget easily. We shall endure, persist, until we reach our destination. Because new Nigeria is our destination. A destination is not an event. We thank, in a special way, our legal team. We also thank other statesmen whose
Thank you so much.
Wise counsel were immeasurable. To them, we wish to state unequivocally that this judicial outcome, an obvious misinterpretation of substantial justice, has by no means foreclosed realization of a new Nigeria that is possible. On personal note, I take pride and express gratitude to those who share our vision, who have exhibited rare courage to challenge the nefarious system, the genuineness of individuals, identities, and their defining and qualifying particulars up to the highest extent allowed by law. Nigeria holds out hope of infinite possibilities leading to a desirable greatness. I remain consistent in my belief of a possibility of a new Nigeria built on character, competence, capacity, compassion, integrity, respect for the rule of law based on justice and fairness.
Oh, okay. So there it is. So that was Peter Obi. Essentially, I'm not quite sure even what to make of it. It's just gobbledygook and dibbity-ja and blah 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 and hooah. You know, it was a nonsense. Let's see how it's been digested. Let's see if we can get reactions.
The issue of our cars.
That I put capacity, compassion, integrity, respect for the rule of law based on justice and fairness. God bless you all. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Please another round of applause for His Excellency. Thank you. I want to say,
I think Ali Baba Yusuf Ali, I think he may want to run commentaries as well. So let's see what Ali Yusuf Dati what's it. Let's see what he has to say. The Mauritanian. Let's see what the Mauritanian has to say about Nigerian politics.
Excellency will entertain questions.
Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi addresses the international media where he criticized the Supreme Court for affirming the victory of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the winner of the 2023 presidential election. He says the judgment is a breach of confidence that Nigerians have in the judiciary and an unnecessary show of force in enforcing illegality. Peter Obi says he disagrees strongly with the ruling of both the Election Petition Tribunal and the Supreme Court, even though he acknowledges that the Supreme Court ruling marks the end of a search for justice.
Okay, so he says he disagrees strongly, but he's not told us the basis of that disagreement. Because Peter Obi, in all of this walkthrough, has not walked us through how he won that election. So I mean, you can only really fight if you feel victory was denied you. He came a distant third, so he's not really in any cogent or coherent manner explained to us how he leapfrog Atiku Abubakar and then Bola Tinubu to become the president of Nigeria. All he does is to make all these coded inferences, suggestive statements, ethnic dog whistles, and then a righteous indignation. So the totality of it, of course, are lacking in any real substance.
Over the conduct of the 2023 presidential election. The Labour Party flag bearer also heaped criticism on INEC for failing to carry out its duties of conducting free and fair election. He, however, says his vision to unveil a new Nigeria that is productive, corruption-free, equitable and just remains intact. This, he believes, will be achieved by the Labour Party and the Obedient Movement playing its role as a viable opposition party while calling for good governance, rule of law, offering checks and balances against the excesses of the present administration. Peter Obi ended his press conference by thanking all Nigerians who supported his candidacy, adding that the Supreme Court ruling only marks a revolution postponed as the struggle to build a new Nigeria continues.
What would you say in respect to the need of principle, like one of the cardinal objectives of the
This is where we expect Peter Obi to start to struggle, because as we know, he struggles with public
Well, thank you very much. Let me first elucidate a bit. Supplementary budget is a budget that is meant for very important national welfare need of the people that is not captured originally in budget or does not have adequate funding. I'll give you an example. Nigeria today, we've read it in the past 1 week for United Nations World Food Organization that 26.5 million Nigerians will go hungry next year. This is an issue of national importance that we can go for supplementary budget. But I will have a supplementary budget where we are mentioning issues of yachts, SUVs for First Lady's office, shows to the extent that its government is totally uncaring and we're in deep problem. It shouldn't be part of that. In fact, bringing in First Lady's office, which is not in our constitution, is even more troubling. All funds meant for First Lady's office should be allocated and addressed to dealing with the girl-child issue of education, to deal with the issue of education of the girl child in Nigeria. The First Lady is there to look after the husband and work with him and everything to ensure that everything works well. So for me, the other one you asked is the issue of SUV for National Assembly. Again, I can put it in the same basket that I put the earlier one. It's very troubling. The SUVs for both houses will cost in region of, I think it's in the region of about 60 billion, if I'm right. Nigeria today, our primary healthcare today is collapsing.
Okay. So, Folly, good to see you. What are you making of Peter Obi's public statement, which obviously marks the end of the 2023 electoral cycle? Folly B? All right. I don't think Folly is quite ready for us here.
Hello,
So let's.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, but I can hear you now. So I was just asking for a reaction to Peter Obi's press conference.
Oh, okay. Actually, I'm not. I'm just. You know where I'm standing. You know what I believe. So I'm not really believing in all this. Try to keep us against 2027, and I pray Nigeria will not make a mistake again by following the same woman that deceived us to 2023 election that will take us to be where we are today. Because I'm not seeing him doing any needful of actually what we actually needs to do. Because he's not even the he's not supposed to be the arrowhead of the movement. I like the movement, but the person leading it is not the person that's supposed to be leading it. And I pray we don't make another mistake in 2027 by allowing them to continue deceiving us towards 2027 election. I think Nigeria should stand by their feet this time around and make sure they choose a good leader that can lead
Folly, you're breaking up a little bit. But Peter Obi, he has marked the end of the 2023 elections as far as his participation is concerned, and he has described himself as an opposition figure now. But do you think that Peter Obi is even suited for that opposition role? Or do you think people that are actually more astute and acute towards the pecuniary needs of that country should seize that opposition narrative from him? Because if Peter Obi, if he takes the lead on opposition in Nigeria, and they continue along that just screaming and shouting thing that they've been doing, then that is to tell you that Tinubu would return in 2023, in 2027 rather. So that's our folly. I think we'll just do it as a standalone. I'm not quite sure that we're getting participation with this. So we'll just listen to this to the end, and then we'll wrap it up because people are struggling to come in.
Which consequently, Nigeria now have higher infant mortality than India, a country that is 7 times our population. For you now to use funds that is higher than the fund allocated to primary health care to buy a car for 400 people, it shows height of insensitivity. And we have a way we can buy a more competitive vehicle and everything for them, even from locally made. And most of them, sorry, even in the Senate, are people who already have cars. We don't really need to buy vehicles for them because some of them are my colleagues, ex-governors and everything. Do they need new cars again? It is time we must shake out and show responsibility to what is happening. People, Nigerians, are already scamping for food from waste bin, and we're doing this. It shouldn't be. And I can go further to give you an example of how I handled it even when I was governor. So it's not the first time. When I became governor, I found out that the justices of High Court don't have cars in Anambra State. The permanent secretaries don't have cars. And when I became governor, they ordered for me 2 bulletproof vehicles. And I said, no. Collect the money back, paid it to PAN, and said, supply us 60 406 cards, 18 to the justices, 18 to PANSEC, few to the commissioners that are appointed. The rest became my deputy governor and myself. Throughout my first term, everybody in Anambra said I used 406. Nobody, but it was meant for 2 bulletproof cars, the money we used to buy these cars, and nobody killed us in that 4 years. So it is time for us to use money very judiciously.
Thank you.
My name is Georgina. Now that the Apex Court have passed the final judgment, how do we build a nation to avert this court cases in subsequent elections?
Well, as you can see, everybody have done now that all institutions are broken down. Like it's been now shown, it is now for all of us to work hard together to ensure that we save the country. Those who are in office do the right things. Those who are in opposition should ensure that the right things are done. And we will do so on our own part aggressively.
Right.
Excellency, my name is Friday. I work for Channels TV. I'd like to ask you something. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, they also briefed on this same topic, the Supreme Court judgment, made some recommendations. One of the recommendations I can remember giving now is a recommendation for a single term of 6 years on a rotational basis, rotational presidency. What's your view on that? And I just want to take you quickly on the issue that my colleague from Daily Trust raised, the issue of the cars for people in the National Assembly. It is true that your party is in opposition now, since by virtue of the judgment of the Supreme Court. But you have your members of your party who are in the Senate, like we have one. We also have some of them also in the House of Representatives. They are beneficiaries of this. So to what extent are you going to engage with them? Of course, those lawmakers at the state level, so that they will stand different from other lawmakers in these parties that seem to be doing things contrary to your vision.
Let me start with the issue of Labour Party members in the House. I've actually discussed this issue with them. Surprisingly, I can tell you, I heard that these vehicles are official cars. And I don't know, they have to use it. It's meant for official vehicle. So it's not as if it's their vehicle that is meant for official cars and everything. Because we can pay for it and say, listen, if it's your car, you return it or do something. But they said it's official cars. And that everybody's meant to do it. You're meant to use it while you're in the Senate. But you know how things work here. It's not going to be like that. But so what I tell people is that it won't be if Labour, if we were in office, nobody would have contemplated such. And that's where we want to go from. Because it is not enough to do the wrong thing and then start correcting it, but it shouldn't even be. Just like people are saying, oh, maybe the issue of years have withdrawn, or this one, it shouldn't even be mentioned in the first place because it touches the sensibilities of people to do that. On issue of the single tenor, we campaigned on campaign.
Sorry, I was speaking. I didn't know I'd muted myself. I was saying that Folly rejoins us, Ola with us as well. So Folly was responding before his system dropped to this press conference by Peter Obi to mark now the end of this now electoral cycle, because he is the last of the major players now to come out to speak to the Supreme Court space. And he has now described this movement now as transmuting into an opposition movement. So what are you making of his pronouncement? You were not especially impressed, Folly, whilst you were speaking before your system dropped. So, Folly, back to you. Folly B.
I'll watch it to allow a lot because I'm on a transit, so the network may likely go off anytime. So I think you can give Ola the space to talk.
All right, brilliant. So, Ola, pick it up from there. I'm sure you've watched it. So give us your response to his P2B. If you ever think that the reach of this platform does not extend, it does, because we were bullying this guy just as early as 7-8 hours ago, and now he has hurriedly assembled what he termed as a world press conference, not really deviating from any of the strap lines that we expected him to straddle, but he has now waved the white flag to now tell us that he's an opposition figure. So P2B, what says you, Ola?
Yeah, Good day, everyone, wherever you are. I'm even surprised to see Obina coming online to try to give us some content, which I don't see as bad though. And I think it is good that at least it appears that it's responding to criticism. So, which I think is a good thing to go. And if it's going to be an opposition, we don't need to start announcing him, declaring him wanted before he comes to perform. Well, I'm not really totally disappointed. I'm in between because if you ask me, I think he has not really behaved that badly. Maybe I will say averagely. Now, I joined when he was talking about a buying car for senators and was talking about the mortality rate somewhere in India, all those stuff. See, I like statistics and I use statistics too. But one thing I've told people over time is this: statistics is not only quantitative, the qualitative sometimes can even be more significant than the quantitative aspect of it. It's a good thing to talk that, okay, you spend money on buying cars. It's a good talk. But look at it differently. Are these people really in need of cars? Yes. Like I said, personally, where I disagree with our senator is patronizing foreign
No,
cars.
no, Ola, let's keep the focus on this because that's a different conversation, isn't it? Let's keep the focus on this moment in time, which wraps up this particular electoral cycle. So Peter Obi has now come to say that the elections is over as far as he's concerned, and he now considers himself to be the opposition figure. So we can go to those sort of topics in the later section, but really let's centrally focus on what Peter Obi has to say.
Okay. On that opposition figure, honestly, we need it like yesterday because and when I say we need that with full dedication. And we
يبقى هيب ما ينسى
and the potency that can come out. Because someone with his large followership, I think we need those people to put the current government on their feet because at least for them to be shoulder checking that okay, if we fail to deliver, then someone is there to take over from us. And that's why I don't believe in those people raising the idea of a one single term. To me, I see that as rubbish. Anything Tinubu want to deliver now, he has between now and 2007 2027 to do that. And Peter Obi now coming using his political capital to stand as opposition. I can just become the best thing for us to witness in the country. So I support him, but you should not be that opposition by the word of mouth. We want to see you by action. So I don't mind if Peter Obi can be even more brutal than the like of Showore, because as far as I'm concerned, the only potent opposition in Nigeria is Showore. And we need someone with a political capital better than Showore to stand opposition. So, Peter Obi, His Excellency Peter Obi, I will welcome you as opposition leader. The only thing I never wanted about him is for him to become the president, lest we have another Buhari that was well packaged for us. But now, as the opposition, you should be on ground and be suggesting a solution, not just be quoting figure. We are tired of figure from Bangladesh and that from India. I want the statistical evidences from Nigeria and the recommendation that is tailored to our environment, not some kind of academic exercise that even anybody from primary six can do. Very easy to quote, but telling the impacts within your environment is very difficult to do. So to me, it's a welcome idea, and I support him 100%. And I believe that's the way to go.
All right, brilliant. Thank you, Ola. So thank you, Ola. So let's go on to Dewale, who's also with us. So Dewale is quite a curiosity. We were just about to put out a missing person notice for Peter Obi to go and track him down wherever he is in the world. So we flushed him out. Respond, Dewale.
Well, man, I was trying to hurry up to leave office so that I can get my privacy in the car while I'm driving. When you say you're going to shut it in 10 minutes, I was like, oh, I need to hurry up and leave. Anyway, it's as if this man was. Can you hear me, one man?
Perfectly.
Yes, we
Carry
can
on.
hear you.
Also, as if this man was listening to us last night, but it's belated. I expect him to have come out swinging at the on the first day the pronouncement was made in the Supreme Court, or the second day. But buying time, trying to watch how things pans out and the reaction in the public, I think that has already put him way, way back of what opposition is supposed to be. You're supposed to come out the second day with somebody who actually is leading as an opposing figure. I expect him to have a statement by now, not when we've already, like, this is like a third week or almost a month to that pronouncement. They are now coming out to give press uh, press briefing. But like Ola said, we need him. He's a Nigerian. We need his voice. I mean, nothing new. All what he said, all the question that was posed to him, I haven't seen anything that is different from what we've discussed or what is already in the public domain and has been dealt with. So, but him having his voice, like say, let's just, what do you call it? Gokwero. You should have been a leading voice. I expect him to step into that role, but I don't see him as the opposition leader because it seems he has not read or learned that element to be an opposition or somebody who is serious in taking that power from the incumbent. I haven't seen him doing that. But nevertheless, he came out with God knows where Dati Ahmed has been all this while. Some of these press conferences he has not been attending. I'm not saying
Dewale, do you think, because I said that in the commentaries, do you think this will be the last time that we're seeing these two guys standing side by side? And this will be the last time. I don't expect. Why would it be with him again? The
there's
elections is over.
possibility.
They have no political association anymore. Dati Ali, he will go back to Mauritania or wherever he comes from. And this is the last time. Yeah.
There's possibility that such things will happen because the momentums will lose in value and uh, things will cool down and there'll be no reason for it's a joint ticket. Yes, I understand, but at the same time they can't continue to tie each other on each other's apron. It is not possible. But I think anytime Obi's name is mentioned, that's Baba Ahmed also will be mentioned as well. But I don't think they're going to be appearing in public, together like this. Obi is the forebearer of that movement, and he's going to be the one to be championing it. Dati Ahmed, I don't, I'm not actually seeing him stepping into that role as an opposition figure as well.
No. Dewale, this has to be the end of their political association because it was a one contract deal, isn't it? If Peter
It's
Obi
50-50.
if Peter Obi does decide to run in 2027, it's not likely to run with Dati Ali as his running mate. And Dati
Well,
Ali haven't established his name as a frontline politician. He would try to leverage that to build either a governorship or a senatorial career for himself. So I don't expect that these people, we would never ever really see them together again, I suspect.
if Obi decided to leave that year, man, that will also be a minus to him politically. Remember, that has been known as one of the faces of the movement of their campaign. So dropping,
That he has no political capital. The man,
I
it was one of the
understand.
biggest.
I understand, but the optic. What about the optic?
What optic? He just pick another northerner who has a bigger look. If he picked somebody like Shekarau, he would have had even a better chance.
And then the incumbent will have something to say about his character.
Sorry, Dewale, and from what Akim just said, Peter Obi now has the cachet to pick from the top end of the north. You know, when he first came in, they just dismissed him as just some idiot from the east. But now that he has built a name for himself as a senior politician, he now has the peak of a better crop of northern politicians than Dati Ali.
Let me tell you one thing, one man. I'm not a soothsayer, but I will tell you this. Just like you said, that his movement might be the end of that relationship, or like what should, between him and Obidati, and even his political movement. I don't think Obi's relevance will come to play in 2027. I don't think so. Is the opposite? I mean, the incumbent is not going to relent. They're not going to sit back and relax. They will ensure that they kill that momentum, they kill that steam that this movement have. Yet people will be making noise on the social media, but I can guarantee you, but also depends on Tinubu's performance. But I haven't seen an opposition coming. If there's going to be a fight, it's going to be between Atiku or whoever is the strong man from PDP and APC. Not because this momentum that you think the Labour Party has, or the OB movement, because they say there's a separation between the OB movement and the Labour Party. But this momentum will die down, will cool down actually. They will lose steam, because the party is divided, number one. Number two, the APC will try to do whatever it is they can do to keep them divided, and PDP will try to unite them, and that is where they will not be able to form alliance with Labour, with the OP movement. So that's what I foresee, playing out in a couple of years to come. But like I said, Obi would not be able to keep that momentum, and he would not be able to play that opposition role. That's what I predict.
All right, I certainly share that with you. Of course, this will be the main topic for tonight, but we're just reacting instantly to the press conference. Dewale, let me move it around as the room continues to populate. Maurice seems to have traveled and landed to wherever he's going. So glad to see you safe and well, Maurice. The white flag of surrender from your brother from Oka, the white flag of surrender, Maurice. Maurice, on mute.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's raining here. Since I got here, it's been raining. So I'm in the city center, with my son. So the thing is,
does he want to say hello to us, to the bald-headed uncles? If he doesn't have to,
no,
if he doesn't
no,
want
to. He's getting a haircut. We're in a barber shop.
All right, so, okay, carry on. Well, you don't have that problem. You have no hair, but carry on.
No, I have no hair, my brother. Well, God gives and he take it too, right? He gave me the hair and he took it too. So the thing is, when Obi didn't speak, everybody complained he didn't speak. And now he spoke. It's like he didn't have any substance, what he said. Some people said they expected him to come out swinging. No, you don't have to. Like I said last night, people, no two persons are the same. People have their own style of doing things. So Obi is the calm type, and he's not the type. If he's Dino Malaya now, then I can expect him to come out swinging. But Obi has his own plan, and I'm happy and I'm satisfied with what he said, and he tried to tell us to keep the momentum going, not to lose hope. You understand? A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. I remember when Obi came out, even you, one man, and the rest of the Aberdonians wrote him out. They said he's the only internet. They are only strong on the internet and making noise on the internet. But even among all the votes that were stolen, they still allocated 6.1 million votes to him. He won 12 states. Tinubu won 12 states. Atiku won 12 states. So I don't even see why people should make it sound like he's going to go away. This person, the first time he came, one man, for the first time, he made such an impact. What do you think is going to happen next time? The same way everybody wrote, I remember you, one man, also said that Obi movement, when he first came out, give it 2 weeks, it will die down. The same thing now we are saying, give it a short time, it will die down. For talking about Dati, I like Dati, but I don't know if they will be together in future. But they may have friendship together. But politically, I don't know, so I cannot comment on that. And now that, like you said, Obi has a leverage now to pick from one of the top Northerners if he chooses to run in 2027. You understand? But my concern now is that the Labour Party member of the National Assembly, they should put up a fight, not just to yes everything along, because this assembly is even worse than that of Buhari. At least there was a few opposition then. But now everything they bring about issue about finance, and it's passed in less than 2 hours. So that's not the way forward. We cannot say, oh, because everything is going good because it favored the candidate you people are supporting. Because at the end of the day, it will affect you. If it's not affecting you directly, it will affect your family, or it will affect my family or friends or people back home. That is the main point. What is governance? What is the use of governance if it's not bettering if it does not better the life of the citizens? You understand? For instance, how do you allocate?
Sorry, Maurice. Let me ask you a question, and then use
Go
that
ahead.
question to bring it to a close, and then we go through the names, and then we'll open up.
Okay.
But this question: do you want Tinubu to succeed as the president of Nigeria?
100%. Listen, 100%. I want him to succeed, not because I'm a fan of his, but because it will benefit the whole country if he succeeds. Do you understand? It will be only a devil that will say, he doesn't want the president to succeed. And I
Yeah,
will
but
never
most
subscribe to
of
that.
most of the narrative from the southeast don't want him to succeed. They
No,
want him to fail.
it's not from the southeast. It's not from the southeast. Oh, hold on a second. Hey, Falca. Oh, I'm sorry, man. It's a friend just drove by.
You have friends. I thought I was your only friend. When did you start making
No,
friends again?
you're one of my friends. You know, you're one of my friends. You know, they don't see me often here in Holland. So when they see me, it's like, oh, hey, break loose. But back to what we are discussing. I want him to succeed. But those narratives you think coming from the southeast is also because for every action there's a reaction. It's also actions coming from FC members and the Tinubu supporters. What they are saying causes them to think that way. So a lot of people don't want him to succeed, not because they don't want it, but because the APC, after openly robbing the election and then conniving with the judiciary to do whatever they did, it's not even good enough for them. And they're trying to rub it in. That is the problem. So, and if you can't slap me and expect me to sit back. No, I have to retaliate. You understand? So that is the point. So, but personally, I want him to succeed. Do I want him to be the president? Hell no, I don't want him to be the president. But now he's the president. So I want him to succeed. I wish him well, because if he succeeds, he comes up with the policies that makes things easier for everyone. Then it's good for you, it's good for me. It's good for business. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I sincerely want him to succeed, but I'm not his fan. It's just as simple as that.
All right, hold steady, Maurice. I'm going to go through the panel, and then once I've gone through the panel, we'll open it up to a roundtable discussion, as we usually do. But let's touch base. Akim joins us.
But I will join you. I will join you at night because I'm on the street. I just brought my son to have a haircut. So
all right.
and I think it's almost done. I'll join you tonight.
We're going to blow it up at night.
And it's raining here. Okay, then.
Good to see you got to Holland safe and well. So we'll see you
thank
later,
you so much.
Maurice.
Yeah, thank you so much. Okay. Bye.
So Akim, you're up next. So this now marks the official end of the 2023 electoral cycle. Akim.
Says one man. Good afternoon to yourself, and good afternoon to all the viewers and those at the comment sections. One man says, "Oh, Obi never said this." He said this is not the end. That was what he said. Listen, I don't know how anybody gets inspired by Peter Obi. To be honest with you, I don't know what is inspiring about him. Look, the election is over now, right? So whatever he is going to say or do doesn't matter anymore. So I am going to say right now, just like you said, that he is going to go. disappear into the thin air. And then politically, in honesty, politically, it's not going to be relevant in the conversation anymore, whether the Tinubu government perform or not. It is about Nigerian politics is about permutations. So the North have ceded power to the South. They will look at it and say, okay, we'll give them 8 years in the South. There is no way they are supporting another Southern candidate that is not the sitting president. No way, no chance that one is happening in 4 years' time.
Yeah, because that will mean another possibility of another 8 years, isn't it? That 8 years will turn to 12 years.
12 years. So there's no, it's no way it's going to happen one man. The next election, the North will just queue up behind the current president and they'll wait for 4 years and they get their thing back. That is it, finish. So this idea that 2027 forget it, look, it's done now. If he still have age on his side, he should count what 16 years and then come back again. Apart from that, I don't see anything happening. They're talking about that Dati Baba Ahmed. You know, it's people they've cautioned him. Have you heard from him in a while? It's been like,
you know, we've been calling him out. And I think this is going to be his very last. Do you agree that this will be the last outing that will have with Peter Obi?
Yeah, but that is obvious, one man. You know, the Northerners are not, they're not like some subsection of the Southerners. They still have this elderly respect for people. So they've called him to order, say, look, you can't be running around studio saying all sort of nonsense anymore. Look, just enter house and behave yourself. Be a good boy, okay? That is how you were brought up. And he'll go, yes, sir, thank you very much. And he's been hiding ever since. So you saw him there in that, you saw him there today. It's not going to say, you know, after the election, he was coming up, oh, this is this. Oh, say this is worse than military government. This is what. They've cautioned him and he's behaved himself. So for me, I think this is the last of it. We will still hear from the supporters of Obi on social media spaces, on Arise TV, the Rufai Oseni of this world, the David Odeyo of this world. You'll still hear from them on social media space. But in terms of governance, this was his one shot and one shot only. And I think he has blown it. If he said, oh, he's going to be the opposition, maybe he's going to join the PDP. The Labour Party is going to fall into a big fight. Do you hear the defense that they are defending?
You know, that's the next space to come. Because after that Supreme Court judgment, you would expect the Arabambi Apapa faction to move now aggressively to seize that party fully. And I don't think Julius Abure, I don't think he's especially invested in the Labour Party. He's more interested in the money that is getting off the Obi narrative. So that has come to an end, and I don't think he can put up too much of a fight against Arabambi and Apapa. So if Arabambi and Apapa seizes a hold of that party, which is the expectation, then Obi is a gunner. He can't go back to the PDP, of course. So we're expecting him to form a new party.
No, okay. This is it. You see, the way politics work, right? Obi, as we speak, does not hold any political office. It's just an ordinary Labour Party member who has followers. The likes of Alex Oti are ahead of Obi in the Labour Party right now. Those House of Rep members, they are ahead of Obi in the Labour Party because they are they are elected officers of the party. So in terms of ranking, they are all above Peter Obi. So let me put that one aside. For him to come out and say, oh, I spoke to those House of Rep members, and they say to us, oh, it's not a personal vehicle, it's an official vehicle. So is it only Labour Party ones that is official vehicle, or it is an official vehicle for every single one of them? So if it's an official vehicle for every single one of them, so is it okay by Obi's own narrative that the country spent that amount of money at this time of need to purchase vehicle from abroad for lawmakers? If Obi is accepting that terms, then it means that Obi, as a president, would have also not been able to do anything about it, because he has completely accepted the position of the House of the House of Rep member. So if he was the president, then he couldn't do anything about it. But whether he could do something about it or not is not the question. We have what you call separation of powers. And when people come out and say, hey, the president, if Obi was president, that will never happen. It's all nonsense. The Senate, the House of Assembly have its own powers. They have their own budget. The executive does not control the budget of the legislator. The people can cry and can shout and say, look, you guys cannot do this. But don't be putting it on the executive branch of government. It has nothing to do with the executive branch of government. So it doesn't matter who was the president or who is the president. The House of Assembly is a co-equal branch of government as the executive. So they have their own ways and they have their own finances. But so I hope this brings to an end the criticism of lawmakers buy vehicle. If not, they should not see that Obi also have endorsed the practice of them spending that money to go and buy vehicle. Because if not, those Labour Party members should have turned around and said, look, how many of us are here? 28 or 15, whatever the numbers. Minus our own from them. Use our own money to go and buy us innocent vehicle. Set the standard. One man, I've not been able to talk on this issue since you guys have been talking about it on this platform. Why didn't they turn around and say, oh no,
you know that is a point actually. They did not necessarily need to have rejected the vehicles, but
no.
the Labour Party members could have insisted on Nigerian made vehicles.
Exactly. They could have said, if you guys are going to go and buy your own, okay, fine. We as Labour Party representative, we want Innocence vehicle. Bring our own from Innocence. Why did Obi not ask them, guys, why did you not insist on getting Innocence for yourself? So this is where when I tell people that there is no difference between this political elite, people are telling me, oh no, this one is different. No, they all have the same mindset. One man, the problem Nigeria has is a problem of the elite against the ordinary citizen, against the poorer citizen. We don't have so much tribal or religion issue. It is when the elite are in trouble, they bring tribal matters. When they are in trouble, they bring religious matter. But when things are going well, it doesn't matter what religion they have or what tribes they have. They sit down together and they share the whole thing among themselves. We've seen it now firsthand. So I hope this brings to conclusion the issue of one person will do better than the other. No, the person in office will have to look at his policies, and then when they have good policies, let us praise them. When the policies are bad, we come out and we say, no, that policy is not good for the people. It's anti-people. That is all. We are all Nigerians. Thank you, Mama.
All right, brilliant, excellently put. So let's go on to Ajanle Koko from you, Akim. So Ajanle Koko is a narrative of.
I have to come back. Go to someone else. I come back.
All right, let me go to Prestige then. So there it is, Prestige. Just as early as yesterday, we were going to put out a notice. I'd actually even budgeted £100 to hunt Peter Obi down online, but I think the message got to him very quickly. And there is Peter Obi now. We've heard the Yes Daddy tape, but Tinubu actually in his retreat with his ministers insisted that Peter Obi must come out publicly and call him daddy. So here we now see Peter Obi on his knees calling Tinubu daddy. So yes, daddy, man of prestige.
Thank you very much. I'm somewhere right now. I just see the alert. So let me clear my voice. I didn't even know that Obi has spoken, so I don't really know what he said, but I can deduce something.
So sorry, let me give you just a very short summary. He made all of the things that commentaries that article made about the Supreme Court judgment, but he then landed on the thing that the message to his adherents, to his followers, his fanatics, his fans, is that they are now an opposition party, which is to signal that this electoral cycle has ended as far as he's concerned, and he's now adopting the stance of an opposition party. So that's how he has positioned this particular press conference.
Okay. I don't expect anything different. I mean, the election is over, regardless of our party affiliation or how we feel like the election went, whether it's was ring and all that kind of things. Everything is over right now. So we need to focus on the future, wish the president, which is President Tinubu, good luck. Anything he does for the country, for the betterment of the country, it's good for the country. But for now, nothing is happening. So let's focus on the present topic about Obi's speech and some other things that was stated here. Um, Saying that he's an opposition party is a good thing if it's going to be an opposition party, which I don't know yet, because I don't really know the parameter where Obi stand, if it's going to still be under Labour Party or get out and form his own party. And I had people talking about the other group, our Papa group. We know that the Papa group is being sponsored by APC, to the market, Labour Party. And in my own opinion, Obi and the Labour Party narrative doesn't really jam together, because if you look at Obi, where he's coming from in terms of governance and philosophy about government, it's too different. So going to Labour Party, I just thought it wasn't the right place for him. But at that particular time, that was the only party he could have gone. But people were saying that he could have gone to AFGA. I don't know if he have been able to build that momentum with AFGA, or they allow him to come in, because AFGA seems like they only have one state. They don't even have the Southeasterners. So he may not have built this momentum. And like some people were saying that Obi was being sponsored by some big guys like Obasanjo and everybody. So they want a party that they can control. That's why they asked him to go to Labour Party, because Labour Party seemed like a new party, in that space at that particular time they could control. Maybe that's why he went there, but it's not a good fit for him because of his philosophy about governance and everything. So they have their own way. Obi philosophy doesn't jam pretty well with them. That's the way I see that. Is he gonna come back? Okay. Let me start with that. This is the first time I've seen that in a long time. And I think this is going to be his last time, because he doesn't have any political capital. He never had any political capital before. So I think it was like a last ditch effort when Kwankwaso decided not to join together. I think they now decided to find somebody who doesn't have any politics. I think he owned a university. That's the only kind of thing that he has. So he has not been in politics. The last time he contested, he did not even win. So he doesn't have zero capital, I mean, nothing that he has by no means. So he didn't really help Obi in any means, because he didn't even win his polling unit. So I know some people lost their polling unit too. So I'm not going to depend on that. But he doesn't have any political capital. Let's be more fact. And like is in progressive stated, they probably tell him not to be making noise the way after the election, the way he needs to respect their culture or whatever they are, And I don't see him coming back aligned with Obi. If Obi is going to run, in my own opinion, I think he's going to go to a different party. Is he going to go back to PDP? I doubt that, unless he's going to form his own party or merge with some other, SDP and some other minor party. So worry them. I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody can tell about the future. If he's still going to be in the market in politics, I can't really say. I mean, everybody's saying that he's gone. He's not going to be seen anymore. Nobody can predict about the future. But what he did is the right thing. At least he didn't come say, we're going to fight. I mean, yeah, the election is over. So let's move forward. Other thing that he said is just part of rhetoric. So
Oh,
that's the way I see that part of, from what I deduce from what you said, in my own opinion, he has spoken well, but nobody can actually say that he will be irrelevant in the future. I don't know. He may not want to, dive into politics anymore. He may come back stronger. But for you to say that when he come back, he's not going to be relevant. Remember, we all stated that, even before the election, he doesn't have a structure. He's not good. I mean, this is somebody for the first time.
well, it depends on how we place the politics, Prestige.
Right, right. We don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. He may disappear, may not come back, but he may still come back.
No,
At
I don't
least he
think
has
he will
tried once.
disappear, Prestige, but I don't think he will have this moment in time that is had now. Because one,
Uh,
the Nigerian political space, they now know the sort of politics that Peter Obi has played. And then two, as Akim just already explained, the window does not open for Peter Obi anymore. So if we have
right.
4 years of Tinubu from the south, then the two choices that the north will have in 2027 is either to try and replace Tinubu with a northerner or vote for Tinubu to complete his 8 years. They are not going
What
to
make you
vote
think
for
that Tinubu
another,
won't
hold
complete
on,
eight
they are not
years?
going to vote for another southerner who then has a constitutional 8 years to run, because that would then mean they would be 12 years out of power, and they wouldn't want that. So all of it's a one-shot deal for Peter Obi. That's just what the permutations read.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I see that point. I mean, I see that point because I don't think the Northerners will give the Southerners, for the presidency anymore. Even at all it's 4 years or 8 years. No, I mean they dominate the politics in Nigeria, but it's sad. That's the way politics is being played in Nigeria. It has always been that way. So that's the way we find our country because we are not making headway with that kind of my turn, your turn, your turn. But this is what it is. That's the kind of politics we practice. Yeah, what you said is, I see that. I don't see Obi. This is my own strictly opinion, but we don't know what's going to happen. But if I have to bet today, no, Obi is not in the next whether it's going to be 4 years or it's going to be 8 years. No, so you'll be looking about 16 years. And age is not of inside. So I don't see that. I don't see.
All right, Prestige. If you're available, join us in the evening when we're going to open up this space. And make it really expansive. But let me move the conversation on. Still stay with us.
Man. I plan to do that. Thank you very much. Let me.
All right, cheers, bro. Let me move the conversation on and hear from Enigmatic on D. So Enigmatic, Erin Koja Eron and Palu. Enigmatic on D.
Yeah, one man, thank you. I'll be very brief. But what I just want to say is I think Progressive actually echoed my thought a little bit. So by saying politically calculation, when you are looking at the political arrangement, is the Northerners as it is. Of course, they will let the South have their 4 years and move on, so they can have their own constitutional. They can have their own constitutional 8 years. By virtue of that, anything from Obi is done and dusted. And then, like you said yesterday, you called him out. He came out within some couple of hours to let you guys know that he's not lost. So it's somewhere in Nigeria. I knew he was in Abia State over the weekend. And then the Obi and Atiku now. I said it earlier. Obi will come back in the next 4 years, but that will absolutely amount to nothing again because it's effectively and authoritatively now I can say he's going to be the perpetual whipping boy of the presidential contest in Nigeria. I don't know if Atiku is coming back.
Are you suggesting that Atiku Abubakar has handed over the baton of serial loser to Peter Obi?
Absolutely, he has done that effectively, and you see, it's like he's following the footstep of Atiku. Whatever Atiku does, he comes to probably echo that or probably rehash his own in a little way. When Atiku came to do his first quote unquote World Press Conference, he came to do his. Now Atiku has just come to make some second version of that. He has done that too, and then he said he has positioned himself to be the political opposition figure. But Atiku has taken the shine before him. Atiku has declared earlier that I'm not going nowhere. I'm seeing the business. So tentatively declaring for 2027, which Obi just actually did now that he's tentatively to declaring for his interest in 2027, which is good. May God keep the two of them alive. It's still going to be, like we said, we need Obi. Right, one man. We need Obi in the race again in 2027 to play the role he played. But he's going to play better in 2027 because he needs to keep playing that spoiler game. Because I still have it somewhere at the back of my mind that somewhere along the line, the northwest axis of the north, they will try to spring a surprise to bring a Fulani guy to counter Ashwaju, especially the Kanuri people of Shetima, but Obi will effectively, douse that tension.
Yes, the 2027 election is going to be a Kwakwanso narrative, because the North cannot afford Tinubu to have 2 terms. Because if Tinubu has 2 terms, then there's the very likelihood that he will hand over to a Kanuri man, which will be the end of the Fulanis.
The Fulani political hegemony. So now Obi will play a big role in playing the spoiler to at least cushion the effect of what will come from the Fulani axis from the northwest. Having said that, now, like I said, Obi has effectively placed himself, as you said earlier too, as maybe collaborated my mindset that he will continue to be the perpetual whipping boy of the presidential campaign, the serial loser. Atiku has done his. Atiku will come back in 2027. But Atiku and Obi, they will have a peculiar, case of political survivor now going forward. Because as it is, the two of them seem politically homeless. PDP, they are trying to rejig their political parties. The PDP governors, they've dissociated themselves, right, from Atiku. There's a clear departure of language and the rhetorics from them. They are taking different paths as against Atiku's path. So it's like they are telling Atiku, old man, get out of the way for us. Let the youth come in play. And then Obi's part too now. In Labour Party is quite divided into two. We have the Apapa faction of the Labour Party, and we have the Aburi faction of the Labour Party, and then we have the Obedient, who are not Labour Party at all, right, one man? The Obedient, they are just obese people, obese, headless mobs, queuing behind him wherever he goes. So they are not in Labour Party. They are in obese corner. And then, but they tilt more towards PDP. So even if they have PDP as their solace, PDP will be reluctant to have them back because PDP, Obi will have to deal with Atiku, with Kwakwanso, maybe.
Wike will not let Obi back into PDP.
Okay.
Obi cannot stay in Labour Party because they're going to kick him out. He cannot go back to PDP. Because there's no room. So yeah, a new party.
So now, do not forget Saraki. They met over the weekend. Saraki, Bala Mohammed, a couple of the governors. So what? I'm not really quite private to the nitty gritty of that meeting, but you can tell that it's about forging a let me say a better way for PDP. So now when you look at all these intricacies now, then you want to see where do you plug Obi in? Are you going to plug him into any of the faction? Is he going back to PDP and then or he's going to ABGA? And do not forget he made the mess in ABGA before he left. So he has a torrid political future now to decide. And those Obedients and the headless mob who are already jumping now in ecstasy now, they need to calm down and look at the political future of their Agulu man first, the Agulu budget before they start this, because he's homeless. Apapa group, all of them, by virtue of the law of the court as it is now, Apapa is recognized as the national chairman of that political party, right? Aburi is just hanging on. Even when they all come together, we know he was just Obi is just more or less an interloper in the political party, and then Obedient and the headless mob, they are just usurpers. So elections are gone. Obi has made his final statement. Now is where does it belong? So that is where it is now. And I hope people will sit down and start pondering on this. Where does Obi belong? Where is Atiku going to be at? Because PDP is showing Atiku the light. I mean, that red between red and purple light now to say, all
right, carry on, Enigmatic. But can I come in after Enigmatic? I'm just going to take 5 minutes. Carry on.
Yes, I've just basically concluded my point. I just want Obedient, the headless mob, and those who believe they are Labour Party foes. I mean, a couple of them said they are part of Labour Party now. They said probably they've registered with Labour Party. But the question, the most instructive question to them is when Obi is kicked out eventually from Labour Party or whenever he moves out of Labour Party, what are they going to do with their membership of Labour Party? Are they going to tear their membership of Labour Party and move with Obi or remain in Labour Party, or what are they going to do after that? And I'm going to leave it here. Thank you.
Woman, go ahead.
Woman.
Ekene, are you there?
Ekene, go ahead.
Yes, I'm there.
Go
Yeah, you
ahead.
go ahead, brother.
Okay. Enigmatic, if Obi leaves Labour Party, we are going to live with him. So just bear that in mind. We are in Labour Party because of. So, and in Labour
Ekene,
Party,
wait
nothing is
till if he
happening.
comes to APC, would you go with him too?
Anywhere he goes, we are following him.
You follow him to APC.
Anywhere he goes, we are following him. So
Okay.
if our Papa think he can come and reap where he did not sow, we are waiting for him. So, and our Papa is not recognized anywhere in Labour Party. If he's recognized, all this governorship election going on in 3 states, his name didn't appear anywhere. He's just playing a role of a spoiler in Labour Party, which every one of us understand there. And when Labour Party is moving forward, and I'm not seeing or believing Labour Party very soon. We are rebuilding Labour Party, and we are doing a lot of work on the ground to make sure that the party is stronger in the year 2027. So, and we are doing that definitely. At least we have regained most of our mandates. Most of our mandates, we have regained them. But
Ekene,
Akim made some.
Ekene, sorry, one
Yeah.
second. Don't you think APGA would have been the best option for him to
No,
go?
Apoga will not be. The reason being that people will term it as an Igbo party, Southeast party. So Apoga is nowhere near
I
to
mean,
that position.
he can form an alliance just like APC. I mean, AC did with AMPP and other parties. He can do that so that it would take
Well, maybe alliance, but anybody forming alliance will be ready to come into Labour Party because Labour Party has at least we have majority now more than those parties. So we cannot just dismantle those things to start to build a new one. We are already building on that. We have our meetings at least once in a month, and we are rebuilding very much. So we cannot just destroy it to just form another party. It's not possible. Labour Party now, apart from PDP, I don't even know where PDP is, but we have most registered member now. So, but I want what Akim said concerning 2027. I quite agree with him a little bit, but I want to remind him that that it's not everybody in the Northwest voted Tinubu. At least many people voted for PDP. So what we are capitalizing is those followers that Tinubu didn't have in the North. That is what we will be capitalizing in the year 2027, if we can get that. So, but the only thing that will happen in 2027, which I still believe, is the performance of Bola Tinubu. Yeah, his performance will go a long way to show how Obi will perform in the next election, and that is the only conclusion of everything. The way Tinubu performs. So anybody that knows him and anybody that loves him, and any of his followers that loves him, the only message you'll be giving to him is, our president, make sure you perform. Make sure you perform. Because if he performs in most of his campaign promises, then definitely the people like me will not have anything to say or to campaign against him in 2027. But if he didn't perform, then I'll have a lot of things to campaign against him in 2027. It's all about campaign. So the price of goods, the price of food stuff is still very high. Many people are still complaining about that. Electricity is still there. Our children are not yet in school. All those things, he just needs 4 years to fix those things. So, and I've not seen anyone he has started. So he has not done anything in the educational sector. Our electric sector, nothing. Our economy, nothing has improved. So I don't know. I don't know when he's going to do that, but at least by now he would have started. That's the only thing that I know will not make me to campaign against him in the year 2027. But Obi having a chance, Obi have chance. We are still behind him, and I'm happy that he just came out to declare himself as a real opposition. You see, people thinking that he will just go there to take a position. No, I know him very well, and that position he has taken is the best, and we are following him. So
There is nothing much to say about that. I'm happy that he responded to one man. One man drag him out. Yes, one man. I thank you for that. But he's just who he is. So coming to Daddy, we still love Daddy no matter what because I love
Look,
his personality.
again, let me ask
All
you a
that.
quick question. What
Yeah.
what he said during his press conference and what Atiku said, do you see any similarity or any differences in what they both said?
You know, I didn't follow the press conference. I was just following what one man was reading out because I was still in the market then. I just came back now and saw the clip from one man. I was just reading what one man was following what one man was reading out. But I will still go back to that press conference. Maybe when we resume in the night, I'll have more to say. But the only thing I'm satisfied that he came out to address Nigerians because the only thing I know is that Toby will not cause any problem in this country. He will not ask for violence in anywhere in this, which he has maintained till the end. He is a man of law and he has followed the law by going to the court, follow it to the end. Now the court has ended. And there is nothing that left for him to be than to be an opposition, which he has declared himself to be. So we still follow him because I love people that obey the law of law, which he has done very well. Nobody will say that in all his campaign, everything he has caused any violence in anywhere or provoke any violence in anywhere. If he wanted to do that, he has the opportunity to do it, but he calmed the situation down because he loved the country. So, and that country we are going to build it together, whether in opposition or the ruling party. Opposition is still part of governance. It's just for the ruling the ruling party to understand that and they use it to build their own strength. So that's all I want to say, Adewale. Thank you very much.
Before you leave, I don't know if you have one or two people still left in the studio to contribute, but let me ask you one more question, if you don't mind. So now that he has come out to say he's going to take up a position role, do you suggest that he should have come out by first of all, congratulating Tinubu and also step into that role by depends on the kind of word he used to say that. Do you think he should have done that instead of just taking an opposition position right from the onset, you know in the
You
spirit
mean
of uniting the country? Yeah.
you said I just come again?
No, what I'm saying is that in the spirit of uniting the country, that he should have first of all congratulated Tinubu for the victory and then decided to take that position as an opposition instead of just coming out swinging and saying that, coming at the government and taking a position with the against the Supreme Court judgment and all that. Do you think he should have done that first by
Well,
congratulating Tinubu?
he didn't necessarily need to do that. He didn't necessarily need to do that because he's so yeah.
You just mentioned
If
now that we are in a nation
Obi
building.
is following, I know he's following his followers, the voice of his followers very well. They have already given him that. He is not a man of his own. No matter what, people own him. So and they've given him that. They have already cautioned him not to do that, and he is abiding by it. So you still have to obey his followers because he wouldn't want to lose them. That's how the politics work. So so he didn't necessarily need to do that. The only thing he has done, everybody knows that he has accepted the outcome of the Supreme Court judgment, and he is ready to move on by saying he will be in opposition. So there is no better way to put it than what he just said. So that is the thing, Adewale.
Thank you, woman. I would have, expected him to say, "Look, we have no country then other than Nigeria that belongs to all of us together. I congratulate this, I congratulate that. However, we need
He's
to."
already saying that if you listen to his speech in Edo State in the weekend, you will know that the man is passionate about the country. Not necessary for him to become the president of the country, but for the country to work. He made it very clear that Nigeria is a blessed nation. That the only thing that we lack is still leadership. So he made it very clear. So if he doesn't love the country, he wouldn't be saying that the country is blessed. That the country is a blessed country. So that is okay. So I never see him say anything bad about Nigeria. The only thing he complained is leadership. And I followed all his campaign. He never said that Nigeria is bad. He never said Nigeria is even the way some obedient used to put it. He never followed that narrative. Whenever they want to bring it to him that Nigeria is bad, Nigeria is no. He still maintained that Nigeria is a very blessed nation, which I also believe in. Nigeria is a blessed nation. We just need some leadership that will gather all our natural resources, both human capital and to put us together and build a nation.
All right. Thank you, Kenneth. Thank you, Adewale, for stepping in. Let's see if Ajanle Koko is ready for us now. Ajanle Koko, are you ready?
I'm ready, one man.
So there it is. I think Peter Obi was afraid of the Koboko that we promised him yesterday. So very quickly he's rushed to the podium to tell us blah 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 blah. I surrender. So surrender from Peter Obi. Ajanle Koko.
Yeah. Greetings to our listeners around the world. Click on the like button, share and subscribe if you haven't done so. What did they say in his speech? What did they congratulate the president?
He did not congratulate Tinubu, no. The first phase of the speech was to toe the line of Atiku Abubakar's speech to condemn the judgment, etc., etc. But where he landed was to acknowledge now that they're an opposition party, and that is how their politics is going to project towards the future. So by surrendering that they're an opposition party, that brings to a closure that 2023 cycle, and then he points direction for his followers. So he's now telling us now that going forward, it is opposition politics that he'll be playing.
Did he give a prior notice to this media press briefing today?
It came suddenly, you know. I didn't see it. You know, I only saw people reacting to it online, so I just hopped on.
You see, one man, when we say here that Obi is an impromptu political leader, some people want to go after, or some people want to defend him, and some people want to continue to champion all these lack of leadership that this guy shows all the time. A strong opposition leader, political opposition leader in Nigeria, whether we like it or not, Obi is a strong political opposition leader in Nigeria. And for him not to demonstrate that yes, is having a strong mandate from the people to be in that position, for not acting right in that position, it does show it's not ready, it's not prepared to be in that position. For him to urgently, or maybe how do I describe it, without notice, just come to the media and start addressing on issues that really matter, not only to you, but to your strong supporters across the country.
Do you think Peter Obi is a selfish politician? Do you think he sees beyond his own personal ambition? Do you think he actually recognizes that he's leading a movement rather than pursuing an ambition?
He doesn't see it that is leading a movement. He see it his own thing, and I'm going to do it my own way. This is what he demonstrated by not giving notice to his media briefing today. How long ago were we on this platform? Not up to 12 hours when we were here discussing about when will this guy speak? Only for us to wake up and he's talking to the press and this. it doesn't, it's not having the interest of others in, I mean, in the party, others that are aspiring for other political position, doesn't matter to him. Or what matters to him is only his own ambition. I expected him to have, came out early before now. I don't know those people that are there with him. Did any one of the senators and House of Rep member there with him in that media briefing? Obviously, maybe they were not there. So it's not showing that.
Only Yusuf Dati Baba was there, Ali Baba.
It's not showing that leadership role that you should be playing in that party. A position of leader, like I said, is not it's not a position that you can just assume by emergency. No, you can't just get yourself in the position of leadership and there's no way you will ever act right. And that is what is happening to Obi. It doesn't understand. It doesn't know that the position he occupied today in that Nigerian politics at the national level, it doesn't know the importance of that position. That is why it took him like almost 2 weeks to respond to the judgment. That is why he couldn't give a notice before addressing the press. This guy is just a disappointment, whether you like it or not. But his followers will not see it. They see us saying this about this guy as if maybe we hate him. We don't hate him. If opposition doesn't work, if opposition doesn't act right, we're not going to have a good governance. When opposition can stand against the shenanigans of the ruling party, then the ruling party, we have that sense of responsibility to govern well. But when you see people like this in opposition, that their members in the parliament are colluding, aligning with the ruling party in sharing money, you can't hear their voice. They don't say anything against the policy of the government, the position of the ruling party. It just tells you that we are in a very, very bad shape as far as politics and the governance of that country is concerned. So Obi is not, it's just unbelievable that he could act this way. I couldn't understand it, that he could not give notice and he just hurriedly, it doesn't matter to him. What is going on now doesn't matter to him. He wants to go and run his business, make his money, just like other politicians are making money. That is what matters to him. That is why he's acting this way. And I am, one man, we have to salute ourselves on this platform. Yesterday, we said we're gonna declare him wanted. Could it be that this guy was listening to us and his people said, look, that one man...
It's happening just far too many times now, isn't it? we said they needed a mining police, and then the next day they told us they are creating a mining police.
Yeah.
We said we are going to put out a warrant for the arrest of this guy, and he comes out to...
And he comes out to say...
How many times has it happened? Too many times.
We have many cases that, that when we mention something here, when we suggest something here, you will see the government will respond quick and in line with what we are suggesting. So Obi is responding to, is afraid of us, putting it out there as a wanted Nigerian opposition leader. So, and we are glad at the same time that he hurriedly came out to talk to them, but he is not showing, whether you like it or not, he is not showing a good leadership. It's not showing that he's fit for that position, and it's not showing that he can really direct the opposition in the right direction that can hold the ruling party accountable to the way they are governing the country, and it's not showing that it's really prepared for this job, because the job of opposition is a real job, and the opposition must work well now so that that can get them prepared for the next election. But when you see opposition acting in this way, how can they win election the next time? They cannot win. It is not when the election is around the corner you start gallivanting around and beating drum and talking that can give you that victory. You have to start from the moment. Yes.
You know, after the election, Obi came out and said, I won this election, I'm going to prove it. That was what he said, right? And it went all through the court processes. It did not provide proof that he won the election. And still came up today and said the decision of the Supreme Court was not intended with the Constitution. Well, where is your situation room? Where are the result sheet from your own polling unit agent? You guys told us you had about 300,000 or 400,000 polling unit agent. Where is your own war room? Why are you not giving Nigerians figures to say in that election, Labour Party scored S and S figure according to our situation room report, according to our own field polling unit agent? Not a single figure, and yet somehow it came out to say the ruling was not intended with the Constitution. Look, that guy needs to go on, wherever he crawled out from. He needs to crawl back under that place and just continue with his import and export businesses.
You know.
All right, back to Ajale Koko. Bring it to Ajale Koko, and then we hear from Bishop. Bishop waiting to speak.
Yeah, he has put too much pressure on his supporter. I believe people like Kekene and others.
And where do they go now, by the way, his supporters, especially the violently aggressive ones who Tinubu will never be my president, Aisha Yesufo wing of his, where do they go now?
I know they are disappointed, but they won't mention it. They won't want to say that they are disappointed. They still want to pretend as if they are still on board with him, even though they are still on board. Yeah, but they are under pressure right now that defending him all the time. Ekene too cannot tell us in the heart of his heart that he's not disappointed that he didn't speak as quick as possible in response to that judgment. But it's just unfortunate that all of us, it doesn't know that his action affect all of us, not only the obedient, all of us in that country. This is what he needs to know. The position of opposition is very, very crucial, very, very important. But when you see opposition laying back, don't talk, don't do nothing, don't analyze the policy of the government, the policy they are taking, as bad as it's going to affect us, enlightening the people, they don't know that the government will continue to run the country with a bad policy that will destroy all of us and not the obedient. Its role is very important. It affects all of us, not only the obedient. No, it should play a very... Atiku, people don't want to trust Atiku. If Obi is interested now, if he believes that he is a real opposition party, this is the time for him to be speaking this is time for him to start preparing for the future. And people will listen to him because he still have some credibility than Atiku. You can't compare both of them. You can say, okay, they are all politicians, but person can still be more trusted than the other. And to every Nigerian or average Nigerian, they will still trust Obi than Atiku. So Atiku is old. I don't see him coming back in the next 4 years. Even if it comes back, will it be relevant? I don't think so. But Obi can still be relevant in the next 4 years if he's playing that opposition role effectively. By playing opposition role effectively is a way of communicating to the people, to Nigerian people. It's a way of campaigning to Nigerian people for the next 4 years. It's a way of telling the people, look, I know better than this government that is putting hardship on you, suffering on you. I can do it better. Give alternative as to how you want to run the country. You need to be doing that now in preparation for the next 4 years. So Obi should recognize that, look, the position of opposition is very, very important. And if we play it effectively, yes, in the next 4 years, a lot of Nigeria could see him as a better alternative to this present administration. So I don't know. They shouldn't see what we are saying as if we hate him, as if we don't like
No,
them.
they will see it like that anyway, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't prevent us.
Yeah.
You already know what the response is.
Yeah,
That you are tribalistic,
no,
you are this,
we
that,
don't
and the
hate
other.
you. We don't hate you, Obedient, but we want him to play an effective role as opposition, because his role, if he play it good, it is good for us as people, and it's good for Nigeria. We can't allow. We don't want one party state. And these people, the APC, they have all the power, whether you like it or not. They have the governmental power. They have the power of the police. They have the INEC power. They have everything. But how do you want to stand up against them in checking them if you don't stand up right now? So Obi have a very important role to play in our life, and he should recognize that. I hope he's listening to us. The way he listens,
he's listening. We know he is,
yes,
but at least his
us,
surrogates will be listening and feeding back to him in some form.
I know you listen to us,
Adelekuko, let's try and bring Bishop in at some point.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hope he's listening. So act right. We want you to act right. It's good for us as people and as a country. So thank you.
One man. You know,
the
previous 2 elections, after the elections, Shores and his party always come out and publish financial records and how they spend money and whatever they have left. Aisha Yusufu have said it on Twitter space, on X space, that the Obedient Movement will publish financial record. We did not hear anything about how they spend money today. So we will still be waiting to see, because for me, a lot of those integrity that they were shoving through down my throat during the election, I've told them I'm not buying it, and I'm still going to wait and see whether they will declare their financial records. Labour Party that we know that Abure will go declare financial. We'll wait for them and see.
All right, I think I'll probably add that to the headlines for tonight. But Bishop, so there it is right there. We were just about to hire agents to go and track down Peter Obi, as we agreed yesterday, but it looks as though we have flushed him out of hiding. Peter Obi now has his World Press Conference. So, Bishop, what's your take on it?
Oh, all right. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Good morning, everybody. Like I said yesterday, I was not really looking up for anything. There's nothing fantastic that Peter Obi was going to say. He lost the moment. And the moment was immediately after the verdict, in the best interest of the nation, Nigeria, to come up and say, look, yeah, election is not won, election is over, let's governance, let's join our hands together, let's roll our sleeves. Nigeria is, needs everybody now more than ever. But he lost that moment, and as far as I'm concerned, but there's nothing that he say or he was going to say matters anymore. Well, as it were, he spoken. Unfortunately, I have not heard what he said from the little snippet from the little snippet I can hear from you guys, he did not say anything different from what we thought he was going to disappoint us and do, act like, even if it's a pretend, like he was a statesman. Obviously, he is not. It amazes me when I was listening to Ekene, and it's just a little bit, it's a little bit, how do I put it now? It's a little bit intriguing that anything will be present. Obi can never go wrong because of his followers. He can never, ever do wrong. They can't even question him. And it gives me to wonder if he eventually becomes the president, is that the way they're going to turn into a thing god? Peter Obi is telling us about leadership is the problem of Nigeria. Peter Obi was president, was a governor in 2006. He contested election in 2003. That is 2003. And he took his mandate in 2006. He was a governor till 2014. He became an advisor to the president, joined the leading the ruling party, and he was very active in the ruling party in 2014. And he ran as the vice presidential candidate to the main leading opposition party in 2019. Even before he contested elections, he played a role with Abacha in the Abacha year, whether as chairman of think tank, whatever. If such a character keeps telling you that the problem of Nigeria is leadership, let it show us his footprint in the opportunities he has had. I was still reading what Soludo said sometimes ago, that under Peter Obi in Anambra State, poverty doubled, and he showed figures to that effect. But some people will not want to hear of that. And it's the same man that will come and be telling people that want to believe it that, the problem of Nigeria is leadership, and he has all the magic wand to bring all of this to an end. Suddenly, he will just flick a finger. But running now for 20 years, he's been active in the political space. He's played his role. And the same person, people believe him that, he has all the solution. Anyhow, that's for that. I don't agree with, Adaleko confused me at some point. At some point, he said he's not a ready leader, that is an impromptu. Peter Obi was an impromptu leader. Practically like an opportunist. In the second round, he said he's an opposition leader. Peter Obi does not have zero capability of being an effective opposition leader. I'm saying zero because zero is still a sum of, a positive number. If he has anything, maybe it's -0. Peter Obi cannot provide anything with a semblance of opposition. Nothing. We know, Adaleko was mentioning Awolowo back in the days. We know the kind of opposition Awolowo produced, was presenting then, when he will always come up with papers. Somebody was saying here, I read about 3 or 4 of Awolowo's books, the ones he wrote in those days. The majority of them were just his position on national issue. Just like an article. Anytime government takes a decision or does something, he will put his own position and he will document it. Excuse me, for posterity's sake. He will document it for posterity's sake that people can refer to. Even some people are still studying them as we speak today. Way back in parliamentary days. Awolowo has hundreds and hundreds. And sometimes you begin to wonder, does it mean he writes articles every day? And they are very on point. What's Peter Obi is far. So for me, and without apology, and irrespective of who source is God, Peter Obi is just an opportunist who, like a happenstance, finds himself and he took. Probably he had studied hard and not just talking about market to market. Since 2003, he could have added some leadership quality to himself that he can provide a voice. The kind of voice that Peter Obi provides now is, I don't know what they call it. It's the kind of voice also, but it's not the kind of voice we actually need in the space of leadership in Nigeria. Now, what he has done effectively, if I can, deduce 1 or 2 things from what you guys have said here, to cast aspersion on the justices of the Supreme Court. Peter Obi used to post that he was the beneficiary of the court system. First time, second time, and third time, eventually that he altered some of what do I call it? A normal way of doing things. I mean, he got an extension post before anybody that look, his time is not expired. Judiciary was good then. But now that you failed woefully to prove on points of law that you actually won an election, because you did not prove in any way, all they were looking for is how to disqualify their opponent. You lost a match. You are now looking for whether the one of the footballers was committed rape 30 years ago. He did drunk driving 25 years ago. He jumped bail. He evaded service. He evaded. You are looking for everything, but not the real thing. The real thing is you said you won an election, and you were going to prove to the world that you won an election. You did everything but that. You did everything, but you did not prove to anybody that you actually won an election. To me, I think that is painful. And now when an opportunity presents itself, instead of you to seize the moment, you wait for 10 days or 12 days, or as the case may be. Any serious politician would have his two speeches on that day of the verdict. Number one, an acceptance speech that, we have won. Number two, okay, we have given the best that we can, but now the election or the electionary process is finally over based on the pronouncement on the Supreme Court. But no, he did not do that like his elder sharing partner. Rather than just to come and cast aspersion and disparage now the judiciary and even the institution that conducted the election. Somebody was saying yesterday, they want something, they were saying, the election is the worst in Africa, the worst in substance. In fact, the worst election anywhere in the world. I was just grinning here to there in one program that Shehu hosted yesterday Sunday. I was just laughing that look, how are we like this? How are we so bad losers? How are we so sore losers? I know people obedience will still pick on what's his name, Soludo, based on that what he said, and they would tear him apart. It's immaterial because even the man himself has taken a position that look, well, it doesn't matter. He's trying to put his best. If Peter Obi did as much as 10% of what they were claiming he did in Anambra State will not be what it is. But there are hallelujah boys that will always sing hallelujah. One thing I just want to take away from it is no matter how good your political benefactor is, at least I used to criticize my dad. We used to discuss, and I tell him several times I disagree with him. I have done that, and God bless his soul, before he passed almost how many years ago now? Almost 12, 13 years ago. But I used to disagree with him sharply on several issues. Amazing. Some people that Peter Obi that have not even benefited, Peter Obi have not even paid their meal for one day. Find it very difficult. If he says it's raining, even though they can see that whether it has dried at anything, they will echo it. It's raining. So for me, it's unfortunate. I hope that we can get true opposition. Peter Obi is not. And one more thing, please. Peter Obi is not the one that will provide that opposition. One more thing, please. Just one more thing. Last thing. And Ajale Kuko did also say that Peter Obi will give Atiku a run for his money in 4 years' time. That's a lie. That's not going to happen. That is a lie. So let me just rest it there. Thank you.
All right, brilliant. Thank you, Bishop. We'll be, of course, discussing this at greater length later on tonight. But the CEO of the platform, of course, Alexander Gomez. So, Alexander, and that is the end of Solomon Grundy, born on Monday, christened on Tuesday, and all that. Died on Saturday, buried on Sunday. So, Solomon Grundy comes to an end with Peter Obi's, according to him, World Press Conference. So that's Peter Obi with the white flag of surrender, speaking to his space now that they're effectively opposition party now. So he's now adopting the opposition stance. Alexander, what says you?
Yeah, greetings everyone on the platform.
And how are you, Junior? You okay?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm just glad to see the end of this. And then so now we can just focus all our bazookas on Tinubu.
Peter Obi has been the breakout star of the 2023 election cycle. He's taken a party that had, during the 2017 electoral process, 5,000 votes maximum to the 2023 election cycle, 26 million folks and more. He's done an amazingly good job in 6 to 7 months. But I must say, he did not win the elections. He did not win that election. Whoever INEC declared the winner was the person that won the elections. There might have been some mago here and there, but President Bola Tinubu legitimately won that election, in my opinion. We need to acknowledge what he's done. We need to give him his due respect. We shouldn't disparage this man. For me, I think he's done a fascinating job. And I think if most of us can have his simplicity and his disposition, our country would be much better than where we are today, actually. We're just a bunch of very cocky, conceited, materialistic bunch. And that's why we are where we are today. My people are starving, and the government decides to seek for a $5 billion allocation to pay for a yacht. It doesn't make any sense. We need to look inside of ourselves and know that we as a people have a problem. We need to adopt the Aja Lekoko principle, where you look out for your brother who is in a less privileged position than you are. He's always talking about the less privileged. He's always talking about how to take the country to a better place. And I actually subscribe to his doctrine. But it's over. We need to pray for the people in government, from Tinubu all the way to whoever is manning the parastatals in Nigeria. We need to see performance. We need to put back Nigeria to where.
Alexander, do you think the obedience wants Tinubu to succeed as a president?
No, they don't. No, they don't. They don't. And I think it's become a tribal issue. Quite frankly, I think you were the first one on any platform to acknowledge that, and I totally subscribe. They look at him from a prism, the prism of a tribe. He's a Yoruba man. He's a Lagosian. No matter what he does, it would never be good in the eye of the average obedient, unfortunately. But like I said, if anybody can take, and I want anyone to quote me on this, if anybody can take that country out of where it is today, it's Tinubu. He's got a hard job ahead of him.
Sorry, Alexander, I'm not quite sure if you heard one outburst that I had with Morris is back, by the way. I'm sure you've noticed that Morris.
I've seen it. I saw him yesterday.
Yes, there was one day he pushed it so hard, and I just had to let rip a little bit, and I had to explain to him that Tinubu is singularly the most equipped person to govern Nigeria. He governed Lagos State successfully from 1999 till this year, actually, because we never left that government house when he took it from 1999 till he went to Aso Rock, and he transformed that space into a global city. And somebody that manages Lagos with all of its complexity and its diversity, there is no better preparation for managing Nigeria than Lagos State. There is no other state in Nigeria that you can manage that will prepare you for governing that country than Lagos, because Lagos is a mini Nigeria, and that's what prepares him.
You're right. You're right. And he's got the international exposure. He's got the international contacts. He plays business internationally. I had a personal conversation with Kolata concerning Aliko Dangote and what I experienced doing business with this idiot. And the kind of network that Tinubu has we tap into it and bring foreign investors in the country, create employment, improve our GDP and all that. It can only get better. The country can't get worse than what it is today. The country is too rich on paper to go through what's going through today. What we go through today is due to bad management. We're not Ghana for crying out loud. My local government has more money than Ghana. What Ghana has ahead of us is patriotism and good management. We don't have that. Everyone, and I'm not going to exclude anybody. Everyone getting into politics, including Police Wale Gomez, they're all going in for their personal aggrandizement. I must say this. If I say this about my brother, same mother, same father, I can talk about it about anybody. So they're all in it for their personal selfish reasons. But these guys are there. They can make a difference because they got the wherewithal. My only reservation is I think he made the cabinet too Yoruba for my liking. I think it could be more. I don't see why someone like Magalu cannot play a role in this administration. I don't get that. But he has his own personal reasons. Madame Zita has said it on the show that he has to surround himself with people he can trust, and I think he's done that. We just need to pray for our country, let people go back to the boardroom and go do their homework. Fortunately or unfortunately, I can't see this man, bar any or unforeseen circumstances, would not make him rule for the next 8 years. So that's my position, one man. It's over. Right. Electioneering is over. We're into governance right now. And when we see the government going wrong, like allocating money for the office of the first lady, we need to call it out. Whatever. We don't need to be overly pro Tinubu. That wouldn't make any sense. Where he's going wrong, call him out. Where he's done the right thing, give him his kudos. So that's my position, one man. Thank you for having me. I'm driving and I have to go. Yeah.
All right, brilliant. Listen in the background as Kulata joins us. So Kulata, no matter how far and long the journey is, there's always a destination, and we have birthed at that destination. So born on Monday, christened on Tuesday, married on Wednesday, but on Sunday he was buried. The end of Solomon Grundy. Peter Obi's press conference, I'm not sure how much of it you caught, but the first half of it was to speak to a regurgitation of what Atiku said, but the latter half of it was then to explain to his space that they are now an opposition movement. So that is Peter Obi, the white flag of surrender. Kulata.
Ladies and gentlemen, Judgement is over. I didn't say to it.
You are breaking heavily. Are you driving?
Oh, I mean, all right. You know what? Give me like 10 minutes. Let me get out of here.
We have you now. That spot you are in now is a good spot.
Okay. I said, do you hear me say, ladies and gentlemen, the Judgement is over.
No, I was expecting you to say, ladies and gentlemen, we got him, like in Saddam Hussein.
That's my own interpretation of we got him. So I think right now we can rest. All this obedient, blah, blah, blah. It's time it dies. Like, yeah, I wish he will become a credible opposition party, so at least we can push Tinubu to succeed. That is what I will expect. I mean, enough of all these election shenanigans. Like, we all knew, like, it did not win anything, not even close to it. So let's just move on. So moving on means, come on, call out the Tinubu. It should be, I mean, nothing stops him from forming a so-called parallel government, whereby when Tinubu makes a move, it will kind of like say, okay, this is what I will have done. Just kind of like keep criticizing and pushing, and he should try and expand his base. He's lost a lot of his base. Like his Southwest base is decimated right now. It's not Christian base and not central. It's decimated to a large extent. So he needs to kind of like regroup and try and make incursions into the north. Try and overcome Yes Daddy. Like just make that like something of the past. Be spending time in up north, core north, northwest, in the mosque. Make it be like a natural thing to you. Don't look like a fish out of water when you are with core
No, he
northerners.
hinted at that in the course of that speech that he's going to expand more into the country.
He better do that because he needs that. If he's ever going to have a shot in anything in the future, of course, 2027 is out. I mean, 2027 is out of it. Not going to win anything in 2027. Tinubu is going to use them for the same thing he used them for because it's useful to Tinubu to divide the votes. So if he's strong again 2027, it's going to act as the spoiler. But post that, I think he needs is now a Nigerian leader, a genuine, authentic one. So he needs to act the part. He needs to like he knows how to act. So I'm going to give that to him. But he just needs to kind of like step it up, move into all sorts of funny corners, keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. He may not make it, but at least it will get the Southeasterners a step closer to making it because it will take them from that sense of order, I mean, otherness, like I mean, that chip on the shoulder of otherness. It can help them take that away and bring them closer to governing the country. But unfortunately, it's not going to happen in 2027. Nor did it happen in 2023. It's just not going to happen. We all know that. So, really, if I look at it from a practical standpoint, it's been a career for him. It's not going anywhere. Even though I'm encouraging
A
it.
lot of people, Kulata, even Akim in his submission, he was explaining to us that this was essentially a one-shot deal for Peter Obi.
It's a
So
one-shot deal. It's a one-shot deal.
2027, the North will either try to seize the power back from Tinubu, or they will vote for him to complete his second term so that the power comes to them. They are not going to vote for another southerner who then will have a complement of 8 years to then keep them out of power for 12 years. So essentially, it's a one-shot deal. He tried, he huffed and
He
he
tried.
puffed, but he did not blow the house down.
No, he tried. He tried. You took me back to what's it called? The kindergarten. He off that boss, but couldn't go. He tried. He tried. He tried. But he should keep trying because when you look about it, by the time this is coming back to the south, it will be a tragedy to get the southeast skipped again because as it is right now, they're very much irrelevant compared to the south. Let's just be honest. Because when you look at Nigeria, apart from population, which I don't even know, like the population of south is just because south is not an homogeneous block. But when you think about south from an economic perspective, they are way bigger than the southeast. From a positioning perspective, they have more powerful offices. So look at it. The South, if you think about it, not from an ethnic standpoint, from a regional standpoint, the South has dwarfed the Southeast. Even the North Central has dwarfed the Southeast. The Southeast is actually struggling with the Northeast right now when it comes to the economy, when it comes to the size, when it comes to everything and relevance. Southeast is essentially done. If not for this OB that just given a shout, and if they miss it, it means the South will just take that natural place. And I think they've even taken it. Let's be honest with ourselves. I think South has taken it. So it's
You know
I think
what this electoral cycle has taught us. After the haze has cleared from the euphoria of the Peter Obi space, if we start to unpick what's happened, what Peter Obi has done, what not even this, let's leave Peter. What this cycle has shown us is to demystify the Southeast as any political
yeah.
potency. Because Buhari won his election without Southeastern vote, Tinubu won an election without Southeastern vote, which is to tell you that within the electoral cycle, and we've seen a real, because of the sort of elections we run now, which is a truer representation of figures, we've seen the potency of their votes, and it's not that much.
You're right. I mean, it's hard to kind of look at it this way because I mean we all started together three regions, each major tribe dominating each region. But right now, when you think about in terms of political regression, the southeast has been the only one that regressed politically because there's no There's just no sway in the power dynamics of Nigeria, not enough sway. And with block votes, routine block votes, twice in a row now, where they're voting 90 something percent to a losing candidate, actually 3 times in a row, not even twice in a row, 3 times in a row, 2015, 2019, 2023. They gave their block votes to a losing candidate 3 times. Think about the impact of that. If I'm a politician, it means I don't need them. Do you get what I'm saying? They're not a winning
Yes.
bloc.
What Adeola is saying to you in the comment section, Kulata, is that do people actually even need to pick their deputy from the southeast anymore? Knowing
No,
what, yeah.
no, you don't have to. You can just go to the south. That's what I'm saying is south has taken over the southeast politically. It's just taking over. Those are just the facts. And when it comes to economy, they're bigger. When it comes to relevance, they're bigger. When it comes to proximity to even the ocean, I mean, they have everything. They've, I mean, from the 60s to now, it's a 180 degrees shift from the dynamics that used to be in the old eastern region. And that's just the raw political truth. And is Peter Obi the renaissance of the Southeast, or is the final burial when it comes to politics? So people don't misconstrue my words. When it comes to politics, as in ruling Nigeria, I don't know. If it doesn't do well in healing the,
No, you
I
are
mean,
being somewhat diplomatic there. You do know, you saw the figures and you saw what played out. You do know.
but miracles happen now. Things can change. But we may be having, honestly, if he, okay, let's be honest with ourselves, right? I don't see the comeback from this, given the fact that nobody even want, I mean, they're not a beautiful bride politically anymore, right? So it's hard overcoming that. It's extremely difficult to overcome. Nobody will go and seek you because they know they don't need you. And it's been proven 3 times in a row, back to back. Except there's a tectonic shift. Like, let's say Tinubu messes up right now, and then the North decides to pitch their tent and take the Southeast and the South Side and join them together against the Southwest. Okay, that's where maybe something is possible, but the Northerners will probably use they're more stronger political figures in the South than the Southeast. So at the end of the day, it's still going to go to the South. Even trying to think through my thought process
So
because it's still going to go to the South.
that's the new political trilogy in Nigeria: Southwest, South, and the North. So that's the new
Yes,
political trilogy.
the Southeast is done. I think it was a valiant effort by Obi, but I think that's it. But it's not. When I say done, guys, when you're listening, I'm talking about politics, not done. Everybody, they're doing well. They're great people and all. No, I don't mean that. I mean that from a politics, power dynamics in the country. That power dynamics is lost. Except we want to kid ourselves, is lost. I mean, even look at leadership in this country right now. Look at leadership. If not for the Minister of Works, right? Who else? I mean, who else? The guy that could have been something.
Kulata,
So,
we rest assured this statement of yours will be re-echoed on Saturday.
who gives a shit? I mean, I'm telling it, I'm saying it as it is because I'm thinking on my feet right now.
I'm just pulling your leg, but that's obvious. It will be re-echoed on Saturday.
That's fine, but it's just the truth, though. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. Do you see a coming out of this? Because if I want to do anything, the money, the power, the population, the influence on the country is in the South. If they want to shut down the economy, it's the South that can shut down the economy. The Southeast has effectively immolated themselves and shut the economy of their region by themselves. The country moved on, right? If that happens to South, so think about that from an economic standpoint. Think about that from a political standpoint. Then you can see what I'm saying. That this is almost like the last hoorah. that we're seeing until maybe 2055. And that's a long time. That's a long, long, long time. So, man, I don't know. I did not listen to Obio, but I mean, it is either is the end of that chapter or a renaissance. Who knows? Like I said, this is just my first take at it, thinking on my feet.
You can go and listen to him if you like. We'll certainly be playing him in the evening session. But really, there
I'm
is
not,
nothing out of predictability from anything that he had to say. He only had 2 spaces to go. He either throws his people on the street or he
Colata.
surrenders to the Supreme Court judgment. The throwing his people on the streets is not feasible.
that
So
window is gone.
he couldn't really do that to get them ensarsed. So he just went and did. It was just a bland. But the only thing that will strike you was that Dati Baba was there with him. But in earlier discussions, we were saying, and I was insisting that is the last time in history that we'll see those two characters straddle a podium together. So that was their last outing as a couple.
I think so too, because I mean, if you
Colata,
could not, yeah.
don't bother watching the video. It's just a copy and paste of what our people say. Don't bother yourself.
I did not even watch articles on why will I watch a zone. I'm not going to watch it. I have better things to do in my time. Since the election has been lost, I've been struggling trying to follow all these things, except maybe when I'm making fun of obedience. Because okay, that one they sweet my belly, but really I'm not that interested in Obi anymore. So I'm not going to watch it. But from a Dati Ahmed standpoint, look, when was the last time you actually saw Dati Ahmed say a word? When was the last time you saw him come today? Dati Ahmed has gone on the ground now. Like, brother is now working with vice president. And I mean, Ahmed will continue doing that head. Money is funding those universities. I'm sure he wants to keep that. Wants to keep that pipeline flowing. So he's not going to go there and mess up because of some obedience. So I will agree with one man. You probably will see those two guys together for more. I mean, that chapter is gone. Gone.
And the other thing,
So
Kulata, is that Peter Obi's political cachet has grown so exponentially now that he can, if he chooses to run a game, pick from the top tier of the north. So he doesn't have to go to the street to go and speak some. He can
yeah,
actually get a quality sort of a person down, given all that he has crescendoed to land himself where he is now.
yeah, it doesn't have it doesn't have to pick from the bottom anymore because he had no choice but to pick Dati Ahmed. But now at least he has some cachet to kind of like pick top tier or second tier or something, but no longer bottom. He won't be doing bottom feeder pick again, going forward. But see, look at what Tinubu will do. If Obi is still relevant, Tinubu will keep Obi relevant because there's a reason. And it will keep Obi relevant but keep his scope more limited. So Tinubu's interest is to keep Obi's scope where it needs it to be, which is just the southeast, right? Curtail all that Lagos shenanigans, curtail all those stuff, expand the southwest, keep whatever is going to keep in the north. Even because at the end of the day, just get that how many million votes, the 3 million or 2 million votes that come from the southeast, take that away from the opposition, split the north. I mean, he will have better chances now, of course. Now, I mean, he has more chances for shenanigans. Like, I was talking to a friend and he was telling me the extent Tinubu is enshrined in the government. Like, Tinubu was not a government person when they started prosecuting Emefiele without Buhari's consent. That was all Tinubu that were going after Emefiele. Buhari did not sign up for that. All that time, Emefiele ran abroad and all. Guess who was behind this prosecution? But because he has a lot of people.
You see, he seems to have hold of the guy in the DSA. Yes, at Yusuf Bichi, which curiously
Yes,
you would think was a Buhari man, but he seems to be a Tinubu man.
he's a Tinubu man. Tinubu is a very powerful guy. Like, he's done too many people way too many favors. And now that, I mean, is it by accident that they can't even do a freaking strike with every single thing that the country has been going through? No strike. They can't. So look, 2027, if you're not seeing any ambition for 2027, you can as well forget it. You can as well just forget it. Except they vote for some law that makes everything so transparent that, I mean, but even with that, I'm sure you can veto the law. So it's not 2027 is gone. That's why I'm saying Obi is wasting his time. But they will have to keep Obi useful.
Sorry, Kurata, remind me who is going to pick the next INEC chairman.
Of course, now Tinubu is going to pick the INEC chairman. He's going to pick all the officers. He's going to pick every
So he's
single
going to pick
thing.
the INEC chairman that will declare him out of office, Abi.
Of course not.
They've started from Akwa Ibom. Remember the Kulata, the person that was appointed as the rec in Akwa Ibom. Yeah.
So I mean, unless this man dies, unless he dies, and I don't know. I mean, that's up to God. But it really, it's 2027 is lost. So that's why I'm saying the period that the Southeast will have done something. I don't know why my mind went to the Southeast because I normally don't talk this way. But I just looked at all this Obi thing today. I'm like, this looks more like a post-mortem. This is like, it kind of has that, when you watch a sad movie and it gets to the end and you're reading the final credits, that is what it feels
like
to me.
watching a car crash in slow motion, isn't it? Disobedient. We slowly watch them headed towards that whatever it is, and we say they are crashing this car now, and they kept on going.
It's like a train wreck. Like you're looking like a train wreck, and that's exactly what it is. And it's unfortunate. It's just unfortunate. I mean, it's the way the country is. It's probably not going to happen in our lifetime. That's just the truth. And this guy he bungled it. He really did it. He really bungled it.
There's an argument that it's a 32-year cycle for any possibility of a southeastern president again. 16 years goes to the south. The north takes it after that, and then it starts 32 years. Yeah.
It is 32 years now. I think I talked about it on one day. Yeah, that's why I'm saying 2050. I think 2055. It's 2055. That's the realistic next timeline. And 2055 is so far off that even at that point in time, the Southwest may say they are ready for another run. Because in 16 years' time, if it's going back to the South will have a better shot at it, given what happened now. And the next goal, the Southwest may say, "Oh, okay, our local again." So you see that it's more like
yes now, because then they would have been out of power for 20 something odd years, So there's that they can present that argument.
They can present the argument. So it's kind of like a reversal of fortune from the 60s to now, from that old eastern region. That has changed permanently.
Kulata,
it's changed permanently.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
If Obi had come out today and said, "Look, fellow Nigerians and fellow obedient, look, the election has been won and lost. There's been a winner and also there's been a loser. However, we need to support the government of the day, but we will remain in opposition. We'll make sure we challenge the status quo, blah, 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 and, this and that." Would that have made a change in the way Obi is being perceived?
The way it's perceived, it could well. The way it's perceived, that could bolster his perception as some person that is beyond fight, that is above board politician. That could bolster him. But the way it's perceived among his own crowd, it will F him up. Because if you notice lately, obedience have now been coming out to criticize him the way we have been criticizing him all along, calling him feckless, calling him wishy-washy, all those kind of things, because they expected, they're all in for a fight. And this guy is kind of like not a fighter like the way. Look at that crazy lady that came on that show with some stranger. That's the kind of like stereotypical attitude of those obedient. But the way the guy delayed, he did not take it. It took his time to come out. He came out. It was wishy-washy. So they are now looking at him as some feckless guy, but they have no choice. But I'm telling you is they they want to fight, but there's just no fight left. So the person they picked, they're just finally finding out is not that kind of person. So from the border country, that would have been better for Obi because it would have just been, oh, okay, this is a decent politician, is this? But for his core followers,
Do,
is
do you do
a
you think the
weakling.
country do you think the country is the poorer for it for the sort of politics that will be played? PDP now dead in the water, even doing all right to Tinubu and all that. The only vibrancy now we're getting from the obedient space, but is it sufficient enough to hold the government to account, given the sort of leadership and narrative they have?
Now, so, effectively, Obi made APC stronger because Obi weakened opposition. Opposition didn't like them. And the kind of politics Obi played just it makes the country worse off because now not everybody will coalesce and speak with one voice against APC, right? Because now opposition is split. So one person will be saying his own, Atiku will be saying his own. At the end of the day, it's just noise. Assuming Atiku and Obi were both saying the same thing, aligned in the same thing, making the same kind of moves, then I mean, there's a shot to kind of like shaking up the ruling government. But right now, as it is, Obi just going be in his own corner making noise, and then whoever PDP puts there will make their own noise. So the resultant effect is Ocean in Yoruba is like diluted. It's just diluted opposition. That's what I think. But like I said, except he's a miracle guy and he pulls off some stunts and just
No,
collapses everything.
there is really not to and by the way, well done Peter Obi because he made this cycle interesting. But I think everything to be seen has been. He cannot replay what he played in this cycle in the next cycle because the political space is now aware of his politics and they will of course counterweight it. So he has to look for a new sort of politics, which I'm not sure. I will see his build up to 2027 if he has the capacity for that or not. But I want somebody else to take charge of that obedient space because I think it's too important for us to let it dissipate.
Who?
There has to be some. If they pull from that Dele Faro to me, not that he should lead it, but his sort of narrative, which has some sort of coherence to it. If that narrative can lead that space, then we might be able to. It might evolve into something. But if they let that Aisha Yesufu sort of narrative lead that space, then it will just be nothing changes. It just be the vacuous noise.
Oh,
Just the yeah.
one man, sorry. What's the difference between the Lefatoro and Aisha Yusuf?
He's able to string a coherent, a disagreeable but coherent narrative together about what you just
They're exactly the same. They're
yeah.
exactly the same.
You think they're exactly the same?
They're exactly the same.
But it's worse.
When they say the delivery to me is, it's more intelligent than, and I said, I beg to differ on that one because I haven't seen that man as coordinating and savvy, politically savvy. So you can just oppose both of them. They're almost the same pedestal, both him and Aisha Yusuf.
His message is too caustic. Is not, nobody will take him seriously because he's too disrespectful and is too rude. He talks carelessly. Is nah. It's not something. I mean, besides his echo chamber, his message cannot go anywhere. Like maybe one person that could be, oh well, he doesn't have a following. I don't even one man. I don't think there's anybody that exists because initially I was going to say, assuming Dati Ahmed took charge of this, but I'm like, well, who's going to follow Dati Ahmed in the north? It's like an Niger butter guy now.
What about Okonkwo?
Who's
Kenneth
Okonkwo?
Okonkwo.
Come on, man. That's just not comedy. One man. I mean,
No,
what's the difference
you get
between
what I
Kenneth
mean?
Okonkwo and Dino Melaye?
That movement is too big and too it's too contemporaneous. It's the zeitgeist. The zeitgeist is too needed for us to just let it disappear. So who's going to lead that space then? Who's going to lead it?
Maybe they need a real youth that comes out of that movement, not this current crop of politicians. Maybe one of these
Somebody
kids,
like an
maybe one of
uptown,
these.
like uptown sort of a person.
Exactly. Maybe FS Yusuf is my friend on Facebook. I don't know where we met, but someone like Uptown, that kind of FS Yusuf, that they're more polished, they're more, I mean, they're not extreme. Maybe we need a 20-something-year-old or early 30-something-year-old that comes out. One of these young folks that comes out of that group. But all these, that guy with his uncomb there, what's his name? Dele Farutim, and all that Aisha with that Aisha, that her husband chopped money in government. Is that, I mean, no, let's not even, those are clowns. They're not to be taken seriously. I think it's that uptown generation that can actually take advantage of this movement to a good
Uptown
extent.
generation takes it over, then it's a 20-year project.
Yeah, but what were you expecting? One man, we talked about a 32-year cycle.
Yes.
It's a 32-year cycle now. I mean, you have the likes of the Wikis that are still in their 50s. Shatimas is still in his 50s. Those have to play their own and go. So that means my own generation will miss all this. Anyway, you have those guys in their 50s, and then then the next generation is them uptown. So I mean, those are the guys that are their 20s, 30s. They will be in their 50s, 60s by then. They should be able to now take over, because that's it. I don't see anybody in the dairy value. I mean, nobody. Dr. Arun, all that setup is comical.
Those ones are just clout chasers now and super task chasers like the rest of us. But man,
did you just admit you are one of them?
No, I'm not a cloud chaser. I just
you just said like the rest of us. I was like,
we're just empty noisemakers online, isn't it?
Empty noisemaker, but you're able. No. I disagree. Empty noisemaker, but you're able to fish out Obi. So that's not emptiness.
I'm claiming it because I declared him wanted yesterday and they came out today. So I'm claiming it, whether they like it or not. This is it. No. So the end of Peter will be essentially what we're seeing. So Dati Baba, what direction does Dati follow now? Is not popular enough to ever be the governor of Kaduna State. That's never going to happen. So the plateau of his own political career will be another attempt at the Senate, and that's the most he can get. And he didn't even win his polling unit, by the way. So is he just came and he went and he never did anything?
Dati Ahmed, he has his own hustle now. One man, he has his hustle. He's just going to go back to his hustle. Think about it. Where did that guy get money for all these universities? Someone is giving him is someone's investor.
Bagman.
Someone's bagman. Yeah, bagman is what I was looking for. Someone. dirty, who was dirty before. Alojo kò síbi kan.
That Tibaba
Obi
Ahmed is
can nurse the
it's
next generation.
an SPV. That Tibaba Ahmed is an SPV.
X rating.
SPV,
X
special purpose
prison.
vehicle. No, SPV.
Oh yeah. That's what we're saying. SPV. Yeah. Special for exactly. That's what he is. So he will be comfortable going back to being that. I mean, if Obi did not disturb him, the guy was okay doing what he was doing. But I just don't think. I think the leadership has to come from them uptown people because that generation is detribalized. That generation can speak across regions. Well, they still have a lot of work to do talking to the North, though. But I think if there is hope, is in that generation. It skipped you and I. The next one will be them Shetima and what's it called, Wiki. Those are the next ones. Then the ones after them is them uptown. So those are the ones that really have something to do. Obi has done his own, he's lost it. The southeast regionally have lost it. So that's just what it is.
The next phase will be the implosion of the Labour Party, isn't it? And we're expecting that by next week, certainly within the next 2 weeks. So Julius Abure, he is only there for the obey something and the dollar that brings. So that's now come to its natural end. And by the way, some of the topics we'll be tackling is for Obi to come and account for the 40 billion. So that's how I've got to title it 40 billion that donations. So yes, you know, as Showore used to give accounts, Peter Obi has to come and give accounts. But Julio Asabure, I cannot see him long-term Labour Party. Papa takes hold of Labour Party as soon as that is formally documented. Peter Obi is out already, but where does he go?
As soon as Apapa takes over, Peter Obi is out. And Peter Obi already has a group that they
Sorry, have you lost me or have you lost Kulata?
No, I think you guys lost me. I just switched from I switched to Wi-Fi. I'm just getting to my garage.
From analog to digital. Okay, carry on.
I'm saying, yeah, go ahead.
Just 1 second. Just to buttress what you just said now about the generations that are detribalized. Not quite long ago, a nephew of mine who is also going to school here from Nigeria, he came over here to go to school. So he has a friend, and I wanted to meet the mother of that friend of his. So I was asking, which part of Nigeria did they come from? He found it offended that I was even asking in the first place. My wife was like, wait a minute, we were just trying to, there's a way Yoruba, when they meet, there's a way they approach each other and other part of the country, just to get to know who they are and all that. But he was offended. So when we asked that, why are you taking offense? He was like, no, it's kind of like weird, for them to be asking each other where their parents come from and this and that. So I was, wait a minute, in your generation, that's what you believe. Say, yeah, we don't ask that. This will be out of place for them to be asking each other where their parent comes from. I was shocked. I was completely shocked. So go to point what you said about being detribalized or completely different orientation. I think the rest of the 20th going to 30s, if they take over the power in Nigeria, it's going to be a different dynamic. Go ahead, Kulata.
Yes, that's exactly spot on, and that's the only way you could see things shifting back to the southeast or whatever. When every Nigerian identifies first as a Nigerian and not by tribal affiliations, that's when our politics will change. And it's that 20-something-year-old right now that I think can do it. But the current generation, my generation, no, it's not going to happen. It's simply not going to happen. It's done. So that's my take on it, one man.
All right. Enigmatic, did you want to have a word before we start to wrap up? And anybody else wants to chime in before we start to wrap it up to meet later? Enigmatic on D.
Yeah, I just want to say Kulata basically, he has done justice to the conversation. I believe he brought it home for everyone. He touched all the topics and the politics, the dynamic politics of the South is going forward. Sometimes ago I tried to bring it on But of course, usually, typically of them, they were not happy about that. They went, ballistic. But there's no way we wouldn't talk about that. And I say that with the politics that the South has played they played in the last election, they basically, surreptitiously, if I have to say politically, positioned themselves ahead of the Southeast. You should see the game they played. And I said it here that even when you look at the Senate presidency, calculation that eventually the South claimed, and there's some other prominent seats that they claimed, right? You understand that these people are not they are not playing going forward. They are positioning themselves for anything that comes from the national cake, quote and unquote. Now politically, they are positioning themselves to take it, continue to take it and dominate it between the Southeast and the South. And they are trying to make themselves the third force, the third political force within the trilogy of who to choose between the South and Southeast. Like Kulata actually intelligently highlighted it, right? In 3 electoral cycles now, you've shown that you are basically irrelevant to national, political calculation. So I wouldn't see any government, any president going forward, having to sweat about Southeast, because it's shown that if this last one actually capital, even the few political figures that within the APC apparatchik in the Southeast that they really even relied on failed them. And I said it here, one man, all political appointees under Buhari, either at the cabinet level or at the subnational level, they all work against APC. And those are supposed to be the guys that were supposed to even be the torchbearers for APC. And the figures did not lie. You can see the figures. Over 90% of the votes in one basket for a losing political candidate in an election, in a presidential election. So definitely you have Akpabio in the South. Look at the election between Akpabio and Ojizo Kalu. Ojizo Kalu, before the guy actually lifted the veil of his Senate presidential campaign, his people already ganged up against him. And look at Akpabio, and I said, who is a better thief between Akpabio and Ojizo Kalu? But when it was time for that national political discourse, the whole of South queued behind Akpabio, and they delivered. And that's why you see they have the Niger Delta, they have the oil wealth, they have Wike now being the face of that South in the government, who is rallying the South governors and who is rallying the South political apparatus going forward. While on the other side, you are still seeing the Southeast queuing behind Peter Obi going forward to 2027, which seems and which is likely and the possibility of continue to be, trying to fetch water in an empty basket, as Soludo called it. And then they basically expunged and then excoriated all their prominent figures by virtue of their dissenting opinions towards Peter Obi, like Soludo now. Soludo, who should be a guy that they should cover, and some other folks, and they don't man all of them. So let's see how it goes. Just to cap it all, I think maybe we'll have time to say it over the weekend. Obi, we already know what is going to happen going forward. 2027 electionary process is already underway. It's on course. And if you are not seeing that already, then it means you are not a political animal, quote unquote. You should see the handwriting on the wall. You should see what is going on presently. If you don't want to believe it, what happened last week in Rivers State is a testament to that. And it will go on like that. So we hope probably they will retrace their steps and see that national politics and becoming president in Nigeria is not about hatred. It's not about sentiment. It's not about emotion. It's not about who is good or who is bad. It's not about how insulting or how insultive you can be or how hateful you can be towards a region. It is called politics for a reason. It means you have to find, a way to see that you are accepted, across the nectar of Nigeria's political firmament. That north right there, like Akulata actually say. Of course, we know 4 years is not going to happen, but that north right there, even the North Central that they actually voted, right, with Obi, what is their body language? What is their countenance? How are they doing with Obi now? Are they still with Obi or not? How is Obi going to keep the North Central, the Christians in the North Central? Are the obedience not chasing or pushing people away from Peter Obi by their fascist, tendencies and the way they believe it is either their way or the highway? You can't do politics like that. If they really want to keep Obi in the national prominence, they need to tone down their rhetorics and understand that it's not our way or the highway, and they should listen to dissenting opinions. And I wish them the best of luck. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you, one man.
All right, brilliant, excellent, always brilliant and excellent by the majestic, enigmatic Hondi. So brilliant, excellent by majestic, enigmatic Hondi, and of course, equal excellence from everybody that stand up. So thank you, gentlemen. I'm going to wrap it up here, only really to reconvene for a more expansive conversations around this and other matters later on in the evening. You all know the schedule by now, around about 10 o'clock UK time. And keep your eyes peeled on this week. I might have a surprise for you. I'm not going to say more than that because often instances I trail it and then it doesn't pan out. But I might have a surprise for you sometime this week. But the surprise tonight is going to be presented in this session that I'm posting in the comment section now. So to the people listening, click on the link that has been sent into the comment section. Bookmark it with your notification on for this evening session. It's going to be an epic section, as it always is. We're going to unbutton our top shirt so that we can, in the fullness of our expansiveness, digest and unpick Peter Obi's broadcast and other matters. So we're not going to be essentially Peter Obi solely, but of course we're going to touch on it as well. So all matters Nigeria, come join later in the evening. We leave it here only to reconvene with you in the evening. Super chatters, Adeola and Team Ajek. So thank you to the two. The rest of you can do that in the later session. So we leave it here. Join you in the evening and